Party people now taste that. This is the 808 bass test. Everybody be a freak in the room. Now pump up the bass with the 808 boom. Back once again, party people now taste that. This is the 808 bass test. Everybody be a freak in the room. Now pump up the bass with the 808 boom. 808 boom. 808 boom. 808 boom. 808 boom. 808. This is the 808 bass test.
distance between us, no, doesn't matter to me. If we never see each other, no, it doesn't matter to me. And we could forget all the things that we've done, as if we've never been to all the places we've gone. 'Cause as long as the skies are blue, as the ocean waves, you'll know the truth. That as long as the skies are blue, I will always, always love you. 'Cause as long as the skies are blue, as the ocean waves, you'll know the truth. That as long as the skies are blue, I will always, always love you. Have you ever been mellow? Have you ever tried? Have you ever been happy just to hear a song? Have you ever been mellow? Have you ever tried? Have you ever been happy just to hear a song?
Hit me.
What up, squadron? You know the drill. We're back for more. ACCL Super League action is running left, right, and centre at the moment, and I've got my man in partner, Mr. Pabs. How are you, mate? How are you doing?
Always marvellous to be on stream with you, my brother. All good, man. Just looking forward to another good evening of Call of Duty. I say good because I'm just underplaying that immensely. It's going to be awesome. So, yeah, I'm very excited to cast over a handful of players that we've cast over before and some that we haven't cast over at all. So it should be reasonably exciting.
Yeah, ECL Joe who put Major J thing better than Netflix. I'll take that. I'll take that. Hopefully, I wish my stock price was the same. To be fair, that would be happy days. But unfortunately, it's not. I think we'll probably be at about less than a penny. But you never know. One day, who knows? But yeah, double header this evening, guys. We've got a bit of a last minute addition to the 8 o'clock game. We've got another one with XC Alpha. And for any of you who do not know, that roster is Mr. Leon, who me and you perhaps know quite a bit about from casting him previously with the likes of JMW and those boys. And we've got Enforcia, Ali, my 8's hard carry, and Just George as well, who was on that previous roster with Zach and Dave. So they're a pretty stacked roster, and we get to see him for 2 series this evening, so we can get a bit of an idea about where these boys are going to be sitting.
Oh, 100%. I mean, Leon is the king of making me eat me words more than anyone else. Every time I was about to lay into him for using the sniper on Berlin at the very start of us seeing that map really come into its fore, he would just go and drop 3 kills with it. So yeah, I know Leon way too well. For me, the other 3 players not so much. I think I just missed out on witnessing Ali. You said you think he was at Clarity, was he?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is the same Ali. Apologies, Ali, if I've done you dirty here, but I'm pretty sure he did play on Clarity Red last year for a brief period. And obviously, I know him well from playing 8s with him right at the start of Vanguard. I know he's a very, very good player. Anyone will vouch that who comes up against him. So he's very comfortable at this kind of level of Call of Duty. So yeah, he's well adapted to this level of COD and this team.
Yeah, and we've got unbelievable Jeff as the other team. That's going to be made up by Troche, Dizzy, Destroy, and Pac-9. We obviously know Troche and Destroy reasonably well. Dizzy, TT, solid following on Twitter, but I'm not sure we've cast over him before. On Pac-9, I definitely haven't cast over before, but yeah, looking forward to see Destroy in Vanguard. Obviously, we cast over him, countless times in Cold War, so I'm really looking forward to seeing this team. Troche rings a bell as being someone who may have been kind of more of a challenger player last year, but something tells me I've cast over that name before. But again, I'm getting on now, mate, so the dementia's setting in.
Every day that goes past and every series we cast, I always question myself. I'm like, have I cast that guy before? But either way, we know kind of the level that we've got with this Super League, and we also have our maps as well for the series. We will ping them over very shortly, but yeah, we're actually going straight in towards map 1, no messing around, and it's going to be a Tuscan hardpoint. And I suppose it's going to be, again, one of those kind of blank slates for us. Obviously, we know some of the players, but we need to see how they're going to knit in together as a team, Pabs. And obviously, Tuscan is a pretty good map to get us going to try and see where both of these teams are kind of sat at.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's probably the model map right now for every player. It serves both hardpoint and S&D reasonably well, as we do get a restart. I guess the players aren't happy with the loading in other sides, but yeah, it's perfect in that way. It's really well balanced for both hardpoint and S&D. It's a really great size map. It's not too small, so we don't get that weirdness that we get on Blockage, and it's not incredibly large like the geography we get on Berlin. So it's a good opportunity to see, not just gun skill, but just how coherent the teams are. Obviously, if we get Bocage, if you get 4 Slayers, it can be messy regardless. But at least in Tuscan, we can see how good the rotations are, how good commitments to old and new are, and just loads of different strategies that we can pick up on.
Yeah, so while the guys quickly get lobbied up again, we can actually ping over to our maps. So this is what our series is going to look like. It's going to be another Gavutu sandwich with Tuscan, Berlin, Gavutu, Bocage, and Tuscan. So a pretty fast map set to be in between either side of that Berlin and that Gavutu, and obviously Tuscan, as we mentioned, Pabs, that map one, going to be a good kind of idea of where these teams are at. But I think the Berlin especially is going to be one that you're looking to think, right, which out of these two teams is kind of the more cemented and more organised out of that lot.
Yeah, and I mean, you've got to look potentially at both these teams being relatively new as a 4-piece, so S&D will probably definitely cut the wheat from the chaff, as they say. So we'll get a good idea of who's got the kind of like gain that experience quickly, and is at a further point along in their kind of formation. Gavutu control, man, that's just wild. I don't think that's going to tell us too much, because it is a reasonably unbalanced map, and obviously if you get that mid control and you're able to get that pinch between docks and beach for B, then I mean the game can be won relatively quickly from an offensive standpoint. And then we go into Bocage. It's an S&D. It's probably at its pinnacle of use is probably Bocage S&D, and that's saying a lot, because it's still dreadfully kind of non-S&D like. It ends up almost being a TDM, and then obviously we're going to hit Tuscan out at the end. In fact, I'm mixed the two up because I'm literally insane. But yeah, we end on a Tuscan S&D, which is nice. We get the best of both worlds in Tuscan hardpoint and Tuscan S&D, but Bocage hardpoint, whatever.
It's one of those, isn't it? You're just like, I mean, we get excitement from it, but when it comes to obviously trying to call the organised teams in that one, it's kind of a case of, I mean, just throw a few players in that. It's almost literally like a warm-up scrim kind of map, isn't it? At this point, we tend to get a lot of teams that look very good on other maps go onto that one, and then potentially go towards kind of like 250, 248 against a team that necessarily they probably should be beating on most ones.
That's the thing, we should be able to reasonably have an idea of where the series goes by Berlin, but because Bocage is map 4, it's that, if there's a team that's 2-1 up and they just happen to come into Bocage and the other team are good slayers, like they have more than 2 good slayers in the team, then it could be 2-all for no other reason than Bocage is insane. But yeah, Tuscan's going to let us really understand kind of where these players are, both in terms of gun skill, in terms of strategy. Obviously, very, very used to this play here, who gets absolutely bodied straight away as we see the kill feed go slightly red for the boys from Unbelievable Jeff, and it's going to be a good start across the board for them. But XE Alpha just picking up a little bit of time, but Major, we're going to go into the middle part of the first. first hill all tied up.
Yeah, so every single second, really, that Unbelievable Jeff can get here. Nice shots from Destroy there to grab a couple of kills in a row. And Trox actually on a 3 spree as well. So this is really good time, actually, from Unbelievable Jeff. As we talk about all the time, Pabs, kind of that side that Unbelievable Jeff were on was normally kind of seen as the side that is difficult to hold a lot of time on P1. And obviously, a lot of teams try and hold on the fact that they can hold the rotation over towards the next important hill, over towards that P2. So good work there by XE Alpha and Ali. Nice work. 4 in a row from him already, looking as though he's a bit of a menace on the map, and can't quite manage to get the shots into Pack. He is going to take him down. And the trade's coming through here for the boys of Unbelievable Jeff, but now it's kind of the question of how long can they hold, and it looks as though, a little bit mixy there. I thought he was going to get another one there, Leon, but Destroy shuts him in his in proverbial face. And then, yeah, good work by Unbelievable Jeff, at least for the time being, for stopping the boys of XE Alpha from getting on the hill.
Yeah, Destroy with a big punch to the pie hole just to get things moving along in this second hill. And yeah, it's interesting actually to note that, I mean, this is one of these odd maps where we take Bakars, it's usually a 3 SMG meta straight from the off. It doesn't change, but you're seeing some teams now just throw on the ARs just for the first hill, try and get the picks, and then when they die, move on to the SMGs just to try and then get close that geography and then close the space and get some time. And it looks like Unbelievable Jeff kind of did that going out of the first hill, so that was quite interesting to note. Destroy just looking very solid, 7-4. Looks like he's enjoying Vanguard, and as I say that, it is Enforcia who's now just brought himself to a balanced KD. But it was good of you to point out before, Ali having a great game so far. He's 8-6, and again this game just proving to be very close. We are only in the first rotation though, but this is going to be a good indicator of whether XE Alpha are going to be able to hold what is traditionally a difficult kill to try and get a solid amount of time on.
Yeah, and I think it's just standard procedure now with Super League that we expect kind of these close games between a lot of these teams. And Leon and Ali, interesting to see them on a team together, and they're doing a really good job between the two of them now. 6 in a row, and Ali looking for more, and he's just going to try and push out a lane here. There's going to be a potential couple of players that he might be able to chew through. There's one of them. Impact, there's going to be another man here in Bottom Church, and Ali with a really nice couple of kills, and he's already starting to push through. You can see those red arrows from Unbelievable Jeff. They are on the hunt for him, but he has managed to get all the way out to the back, so we'll see now if he can hold this control of this side of the hill. And nice shots again from Ali. 5 in a row. Really clean work from Ali. Smart play, patient play, and it is paying off for him at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Ali reminiscent of a young Pablo. Just don't want to. No one's ever witnessed this. I could be just chatting absolute bubbles, but yeah, he's looking very solid. Some of those shots from, in that kind of like medium range were just really solid, really straight, good control. So looking very solid as a Slayer, 15 and 8. But not only that, he's got the most amount of time at 38 seconds. And Forcia, although doing well, hasn't seen any action on the kill so far. It's a solid 30-second lead, or maybe 20-second lead now. And Unbelievable Jeff do manage to get the kill feed lit up red, which is going to be good for them if they can turn that into time. We're going to continue to see this game stay reasonably close. They've done well, and they're going to see this transition over to what is technically quite a difficult hill to hold. We should see a pinch from bottom and from the back. It is going to be number 3. Ali looking to get that. He is going to play himself, but it's a pretty easy kill major for Pack in the end, and he's on a 5 streak.
Yeah, really good work here from Pack. Him and Destroy especially managed to get a few kills together, but now those purple arrows from XE Alpha, can they manage to push through quick enough here? Pack's still here, and he's still on his streak, makes it 6. Will finally get traded out in the end by Trop, who has managed to just work his way in. And, oh no, sorry, apologies. It was actually a teammate that got him through. I thought he was shot in the back, so he's going to be hating that one as he was getting a little bit of momentum going there. Pac, but now the boys fly around the corner. Enforcia with 1, looking for the second. Destroy, as per usual, going to spam some nades through and is going to take 1. So this hill on P5 is turning out to be a very textbook one. Just a lot of mess and a lot of nades, and Just George is going to manage to grab a couple of kills. Destroy's going to fly through, but nice work by George to take down another one. But it will still be Leon lurking nearby. He might be able to grab a couple here. Pack is going to jump out the window. He does get spotted, but a big kill from Pack. And Ali, looking for the trade, is going to manage to do it. And you can already see Pablo, although Ali's getting the scrap time, the battles over towards New are already going down. And on the second rotation, there is nothing separating these two.
Absolutely a really, really solid first rotation of hills from both teams, and the score remains almost tied and great slaying across the board, you know, back and forth in terms of kill leaders, destroy, and Ali presently in a foot race couldn't be any closer with a almost exact amount of time as well, only 10 seconds separating the two players. So great plays, and you know, it's great to see this almost level gun skill as well. But we were concerned maybe that there might be a kind of naivety almost based on the fact that these two teams were reasonably new in formation, but these two teams going at it and a solid understanding of this Tuscan hardpoint. So it's been an absolute showpiece so far. But just starting to see Jeff just pull the lead, good hold over towards one, and they've already got XC Alpha thinking about P2 in the second rotation. So great play so far, and they've still got a long way to go, Major, but you know, they've done the hard work in this first hill and the second rotation.
Yeah, and Dizzy played that really smart, just going on a flank, and he managed to pick up 3 players and actually push a streak out as well. So you now see they've got 3 streaks on the side of Unbelievable Jeff. Rock is just going to be soaking up the remaining scrap time as the new hill pops. But now, can they manage to position themselves to hold a lot of time here, Unbelievable Jeff? Because that's a really strong hold on P1, and already the difference between the points. We said it, they were close on that P1 when it popped, and now look at it, 60 between the two teams now. Destroy looking for more. Dizzy still lurking up top as well. It looks as though the trades will come through. Oh no, Leon wins a gunfight that he probably shouldn't be able to. And Troc though off the top rope. There's one. Ali is going to shut him down, and this is much needed time here for XC Alpha, apologies. But now can Dizzy manage to get any more? He's really started to crank up the gears now. 22 and 13 from Dizzy. An all-important time going in their favour once more. Only 10 away from that 200-point mark. And XC Alpha, they really need to try and win this scrap battle because they need to try and stop the bleeding for the time being. Enforcer on the hill, but there's 2 players again from Unbelievable Jeff. It will be just George on the rotation. You can see Ali will be joining him shortly, but Pablo, they're over the 200-point mark, and those hills were pretty damn good from those guys.
Yeah, man, from the end of P5 and that first rotation right the way through to where we are now, we're on P3. They've chained some hill time together, and largely in part to the work of Destroy and Dizzy have absolutely gone off. They've got so many pieces of air ordnance in the bank as well, so many streaks ready to be deployed. This is going to be a worrying and quite disturbing time for the team in purple. XC's Alpha about to get a lot of firepower landing on their bonnets pretty soon. Leon doing everything he can, 22 and 22, but it's an uncharacteristically muted performance from, you know, Leon himself. He's usually quite a heavy slayer, and it just shows you how strong Unbelievable Jeff have been. And again, they're just looking to break and already looking to go out and push out that little bit further and get those kills from those players, those advancing players in purple. But Major, it's been an absolute performance so far, and if there is one team looking super strong right now, it's the team in red.
Yeah, really good work again from Unbelievable Jeff on that. They are going to get a little bit of scrap time though, XC Alpha, but now this is going to be the important kill. Nice shots coming through from the boys in red. Can they manage to mop up the kills? Leon is still lurking outside of church, just trying to be a pain, but he's got to try and contest really shortly here. Troc is inside. This is a really big gunfight here that Leon really can't afford to lose. He is going to fall, and look at the control that Unbelievable Jeff have on this church hill. Enforcer going to be pushing his way downfield side. Nice shots into pack. He's not going to quite grab the kill though, as he's still lurking round the back, and the kill feed again just lights up red. XC Alpha, they're really struggling to even get close towards the hill, and another gunfight which Dizzy is able to win. He's on an absolute tear once again. Him and Destroy at the moment are really just mopping up kills left, right, and center. And now with 18 seconds left, Unbelievable Jeff, they are so close to taking map number 1. Now Dizzy still on the hill. They can still win off this. The boys in purple, they're going to have to even try and contest this. Enforcer and Ali, they're surely going to have to make the play. But again, another kill from Dizzy. He is just going on a tear. Ali, though, inside the hill with 1, looking for the second on the Troc, and he does just about enough. And I think he might have done enough potentially to hold off the kills and potentially the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Just done enough to get his foot on the hill and keep XC Alpha as close as possible into this game. Oh man, what? I thought that was 1 second minus, but maybe my maths is letting us both down. But 250 to 154 to Unbelievable Jeff. And what a performance from the boys in red. And I'm really interested to see the stats of Troc, who although had like what you would consider a bad game in terms of kills and deaths, I'm almost certain all those kills came from hill time. He stacked up an awful lot of hill time. Do we see contested hill time? We see kills per hill, 2.3 kills per hill. So, you know, the guy doing really, really well to get those, to do that dirty job, get the kills from the guys trying to breach in and maintain, you know, a 1 minute 30 kind of score. So good plays across the board despite unspectacular scores from Troc. But the other 3 players in Dizzy and in Destroy and in Pack just playing really, really good Call of Duty so far.
Yeah, so map number 2, Berlin Search and Destroy. So we go from kind of a more frantic map, Pablo, to one of the more organised ones here, I suppose you could say. But Unbelievable Jeff, even on that Tuscan, they did look like they were in control for big sections of it. So it wouldn't surprise me if they do look clean on the search. But one thing we do know about Berlin Search and Destroy is when Leon plays it, we usually get a bit of action with a sniper. So that'll be something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, absolutely, and you've got to consider that he is lethal with that sniper, and it's going to provide a little bit of suppression. It's probably going to make the team from Unbelievable Jeff start to think about tactics and smokes and whatever else they need to employ in this game in order to try and get an advantage at these ranges. But yeah, definitely watch out for potentially Leon going off. He's made me eat the words a number of times. But again, I mean, they look so organised on Tuscan. It would surprise me if they aren't equally as organised on Search and Destroy. But again, we know that these boys from XE Alpha individually, and when we've seen them before in other teams, they know the fundamentals of S&D. So it still should be a good game. But yeah, I mean, suggestions from the first map, Unbelievable Jeff, just looking very strong. Too early to plant a flag, I would suggest, Major.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Yeah. I mean, with a lot of these teams and the rosters, I'm not really too sure how long Unbelievable Jeff have been together as a four, but obviously we know XC Alpha are kind of more of a knitted together recently team. So you never really know what you're going to kind of get with these kind of rosters that come together new. Sometimes they can just hit the ground running, especially in a game mode like Search, and obviously take information from the various teams they've been on and look very good and very organised in Search. But yeah, it's one where, I mean, you could stick it either side really with these guys, and you, knowing us, we'd probably be wrong. So I think it's best to potentially leave this one until after this. But yeah, after that map one, definitely can confirm that Unbelievable Jeff, their slaying power especially looked very, very good.
Yeah, absolutely. They completely looked on point. At times, XC Alpha at the very beginning did look like they were coping, but straight from the outset, you did see kind of a team wipe from the boys in red. They absolutely dominated that P1. Then we did see a bit of back and forth, which you do kind of expect as the rhythm gets put into place. But yeah, they just dominated towards the latter part of those last 4 hills and just took an absolute amount of time. But yeah, going into this S&D, as I say, we do expect to see the boys in red to have some coherence because we've seen them before, but Leon's played with some of the best, and I would expect him, potentially as an experienced player to have some idea about what he's coming up against. And Ali looked absolutely solid, so it wouldn't surprise me again if he has a solid game, and this could go either way. But I would say if Unbelievable Jeff take this is going to be a difficult series for the team.
Yeah, and already this is going to get messy over towards the A site. George is going to be a very busy lad, and his teammate in Ali is as well. And Dizzy right off the rip. 2 heads already being claimed by him, and that bomb is going down without any hesitation. And the boys of XC Alpha already, this round is looking a little bit bleak for them. That control in towards the A site is very much apparent now for Unbelievable Jeff. And wow, they've come out the gates absolutely flying here. Enforcer and Leon are going to have to try and work something as a duo here, but you can see, I think it's going to take a bit of a miracle, but nice work by Enforcer. Manages to get the first kill, and he isn't going to get tagged up here, so he might be able to challenge to a second, and he knows where Destroy is. And oh, hello, this is getting interesting. There's another one for Enforcer as well. 3 in a row. He makes it a 1 versus 1. But I think Pack is just going to play the timer here. He can just afford to play this smart. Oh, and there's COD timing. Enforcer the second he checks the other direction. He isn't, unfortunately, going to spot him, and it looks as though he's not going to go for the defuse. And Unbelievable Jeff, breathe a sigh of relief there, Pabs. That one could have got messy.
Oh, I mean, I talk about dizzy, heads spinning all over the show. It looked absolutely like it was going to be a wipe for Unbelievable Jeff at the start, but then huge plays as XE Alpha just burst in, and Ali just destroying kids, but not enough as Enforcer just left last alive. And good plays by Pack in the end, sensible plays by Pack in the end in order to do that. But Dizzy already on a 3-1. And a huge performance right now, but you've got to keep your eye on Enforcer. So close to streaks, and I'm just wondering whether he's going to play passively to try and get them, or whether they're going to try and maintain some level of aggression. It's very interesting. Nearly gets taken down off the rip. His shots across the middle of the map, and it just shows you just how much you've got to be careful in Berlin Search before you get your head ripped off.
Yeah, so where's the first blood? There it is. Dizzy, another kill for him. 4 in 2 rounds now, and he's looking to try and continue that momentum that he managed to get in the first map. So Unbelievable Jeff still just waiting for that bomb to go down, but Ali is going to manage to respond with the bomb plant. So it is now bomb down for XC Alpha, and now it's going to be up to Unbelievable Jeff to try and work their way in potentially here. And it looks as though they're just going to try and regroup and wait. Leon, he was actually getting tagged up, I believe, through the wall there potentially. For now, Pack just waiting for the right time to strike here. Those red arrows are ready to go any second now. Oh, and that's the timing. that you don't want to see here if you're a fan of XC Alpha. But now can Leon make the play? He's actually going to try and dip out here and work a bit of a pinch here. 19 seconds left on the clock here. Unbelievable, Jeff. They're not giving themselves a huge amount of time here. And Leon, nice work, takes down one man. There's still Destroy inside the hill. He's just flying through for the chow. And Leon with 2 manages to give XC Alpha their first round on the board. And the aggression really paying off towards the end.
Man, you very rarely see a player dip from the hill. Usually they'll stay in chow, but Leon with the big brain move jumps out of the window, clean out like his pants are on fire, gets into the middle of the kind of like bridge area and absolutely destroys those 2 players with a little bit of dancing over the bomb site. So great play by Leon to bring that back round. And we did see watch out for the young man. He is a superb S&D player, usually with the longer range instruments in his hand, but right now 1-1. And you just, again, we're in this position in this Super League where it's so difficult to call how these games are going to go. But a superb retake of that bomb site and great play by the boys in purple.
Yeah, so now smoke is down, which is surely going to give XC Alpha a bit of a hint that this B site is going to be the option of choice here. Door open, Leon going to try and just tuck himself away in the corner and not going to check his corner on that occasion, Dizzy, so he's going to fall. So nice work by Leon for the first blood, but now this is the position that is very, very difficult. Destroy is actually going to win a gunfight over towards that A site, so he manages to even it up to 3 versus 3, and now out the back, Trock, he's getting absolutely leathered from everywhere. He needs a bit of help, and it is going to come in the form of Pack as he chows out onto Enforcer, takes down 1. The shots coming through are going to connect with Leon inside the site, who is just going to dip out temporarily, but now Pack, can he make the play? Oh my god, the COD timing is unreal in this round. It's now going to be Destroy. 1 versus 2 needed up against George and Leon. George knows he's there, though. Good reads. And XC Alpha, 2 rounds in a row, Pablo. Good work from those boys.
Yeah, absolutely. And we see Leon with those dancing feet one more time as he manages to ring a rose around the bomb site and get the kills towards Pack and Trock. And then eventually it's going to be just George with a reasonably easy to kill over fire and really good performance and utilizing their strengths with the ARs and in particular with Leon and his dancing feet. So far, so good for XC Alpha. And the one thing we were concerned about was that naivety. But what do we see popping out from Destroy with that sniper? So maybe a different change and a plan B from Unbelievable Jeff.
Yeah, and hopefully Mr. Destroy got the memo that we'd love to see a few little sniper plays from time to time. It would be quite nice, as Berlin is one of the more opportune maps for the sniper to try and make the play. It looks as though XC Alpha, they are going to be heading over towards the B site. So now can Mr. Destroy live up to his name here and potentially claim a couple of skulls? They are just going to wait for him to check the corner alley ever so slightly. A glide bomb's going to come through, though. They're going to invest that one. Leon is going to try and grab Dizzy. He's going to manage to tag him up. He's not going to get the kill, and you can still see the number 7 in alley did manage to cross over, but now Destroy still hunting for the head. Leon out the back, just waiting. He's just dancing with death for the time being, but he's none the wiser here. He's got to be careful. And Destroy, did he spot his head? I don't think he did. And now they're going to have to go quickly here, but in mid-map, meanwhile, Enforcer, he's a busy man. Dizzy's going to take him down, so they will get a bit more control over towards that side. And Just George, really good work in the back. Nice shots with the automaton. Manages to make the play, but it's getting Mixie over towards the bomb site. And Dizzy manages to grab another kill now, so it's 2 versus 2. But time is not really favouring them here, as they need to try and work their way in. Destroy is now the last man up. He's going to take down 1, but he's got to try and get on the bomb here. And is he going to beam Leon on that occasion? No, he's not. XC Alpha, 3 rounds in a row, Pablo.
Looking very, very solid. Really nice strategy. They've kept the players reasonably apart just so they can get that information, and then they're utilizing their excessive gun skill to an extent to take those players down. And really nice and almost composed performance. At no point did they look like they were panicking, and at no point did they look like they were not in control of that bomb site. So really nice play, and that was despite the fact that they lost that gunfight over towards middle. So big plays. And did we see Leon with the sniper then?
We did indeed. Not going to lie.
This could be interesting. Going to go and try and watch that cross, but I think he might be a little bit too late for that. But big plays from the man you would expect.
I thought Leon was going to do it there. I thought he was going to manage to grab the kill. Binoculars out, though. See what you can see. He's going to plonk it straight on the top of the roof there, and he's going to manage to spot Trock running away. But Leon, not normally what we're used to seeing, missing a couple of shots on that occasion, but he is going to manage to use the streaks to good effect, and he manages to get the first blood destroyed, though. Replies with 1 onto Enforcer. He's still just peeking around the corner with the sniper, Leon. 8 in a row now for him, but I think this might be his last one, yeah, as he gets taken down, and now it's all on Ali. 1 versus 2. Will trade Pack out, but 23 seconds left on the clock. He knows where Destroy is. You can see the split of the players, Pabs. It's something that we tend to see quite a lot now in Vanguard, isn't it? More players, rather than playing as a pair, kind of splitting, getting the map control, and Ali with 10 seconds left on the clock, I don't think he's really got a hope in hell with this one.
Not at all. No, he's either going to get absolutely destroyed. I don't think he's going to be able to get that. He's Trock going to take him down. But yeah, obviously, there's the size of this map and the geography of it is probably not as conducive to trying to find out where the opposition is and trade that out. So better to take up these long range positions and eventually just kind of bait them out towards the bomb. And it works effectively. We've seen it from the beginning on almost every map. Obviously, less effective on the smaller ones, but right now, Unbelievable Jeff just slowly but surely coming back into it. And you would feel that if Pack and Trock were able to get into the game a little bit more, a few more interactions than the ones they are presently getting, in particular Trock, who's 1-4 and heavily on the struggle bus at the minute, that this would be a different series entirely for Unbelievable Jeff. But XC Alpha just looking super strong and across the board, everyone pulling the weight. So great play, but we are about to see an absolute ham fist of a fight go down over towards the A-bomb site.
Yeah, Trock is looking as though he might be the first engagement. Oh, never mind. Dizzy is as Ali manages to grab the first blood. So good work from XC Alpha. And they are going to force those red arrows over towards that A site. But now, on this lonesome Trock, really good work. Takes down one. There's going to be another man nearby in Leon. He's done well to just keep his head down, actually. And he will stay alive temporarily. And his teammate's going to try and work their way in. But George, big kill, takes him down. So now 3 versus 2. Unbelievable Jeff are going to have to try and maybe work their way in towards the site and destroy. Oh, is he going to manage to get enough info to take the man off the bomb? George is hiding just behind it. Bomb goes down. He's waiting for the peak. Any second now, potentially could rip his skull clean off here. Destroy it. Still hunting. Still waiting. 35 seconds. Try and work something here. Pack on the outer lane. Enforcia has absolutely none of that. Stops him right in his tracks. And now Destroy is going to have to work something Phase-esque here. Pablo with the sniper. But nice work with the pistol at least. Oh.
Sorry, I just wanted to see how he got on with the sniper. I knew he was going to try and get it in quick scope, but again, we talk about how inefficient it can be when you get to the latter stages of each round, and 2 rounds in a row we've seen just what can happen if you're not able to get your picks, and Destroy probably a little bit reticent to take a shot when he probably should have when he was watching over that bomb site, but we see it in the previous round with Leon as well. So maybe the guy's just getting a little bit warmed up already, kind of decided to stick with the sniper, potentially on both sides. So, you know, you would accept, and as I say, that of course he changes his weapon to an AR, but again, you just got, if you're going to use them, you just need to be able to get those picks, and if you're not getting the picks, change the weapon. That's the best advice I can think of. And XC Alpha still looking solid. It's still 2 rounds, so plenty of time for Unbelievable Jeff to get back into this, but they just need to get those 2 players more involved in Pack and Trock, and I think they might be able to tie this all up. But right now it's down to XC Alpha about to get the bomb down potentially.
Oh, and Leon, he might be able to give them the Lakaka here. And if you're wondering where on earth I got that word from, Mr. Crozier asked for that one. I don't know. I didn't have a clue what it was, but he manages to grab 2 nonetheless here. Leon, holy sensitivity. 3 in a row in quick succession from him is now going to leave Trock last man up, and Leon with 4. There's the ace. Really clean work from Leon, and XC Alpha with an important round, Pabs. They're now going to be 1 away from taking map number 2. And shock horror, we might have another close series here in the Super League.
We're 100% potentially going to, well, say 100%, we're 99% going to see that Bocage hardpoint. Still, obviously, a few rounds left in it. If Unbelievable Jeff can pull it out the bag, but right now, Leon just looking like a cut above every single player. We've pointed it out before, time and time again, but usually in terms of the sniper. But again, when he played, was it Mistaken Identity? He played with JMW, and that he was an absolutely solid player. So 12-3 right now, and he's on a 4 streak as well. So a big job for Unbelievable Jeff right now. They're going to want to tie this game up at least and prove that they are a reasonable S&D side. But XC Alpha, you would suggest, just looking a little bit too strong right now, Major.
Yeah, Trock is going to be on his lonesome, but you can see Dizzy is working his way around the back here, so he might be able to catch a few of them out here if he just manages to stay alive. Ali's going to manage to grab the first blood, and now this is the invitation that Dizzy needs to move. He's going to move quickly now, and he might be able to grab both here. Oh my God, George has just violated him. Holy movement. George with the automaton just breaks his ankles, grabs the kill, and there you go, Pabs. XC Alpha in emphatic style right towards the end of that one. Take it 6-2.
Man, XC Alpha felt like dancing, and they danced to Berlin away. We saw Leon with the moves, and we've just seen Just George, a round pillar, manages to play his life and get the kill with a beautiful 2-piece at the end. And what a performance right there. Hats off. 9 non-traded kills for Leon in a 12-3 performance. Outstanding work all round from the boys in purple to tie this game back up, tie the series back up, and we're potentially, we're 100% now going to get that crazy Bocage hardpoint there. Although it's a bit of it's a woeful kind of map for the player. It's going to be great for us and great for the viewers.
Yeah, so wow. That's a statement there from the boys of XC Alpha. Wow, we're tied up now. It looks as though map 1 was very, very one-sided, and it looks as though map 2 was as well, but on the flip side. So we are going to go in towards a Gavutu control, and this is where we always say it, Pabs. This is where you're looking for your AR players, especially the likes of George, to try and put a stamp on it, because him and Leon, really good performance in that search and destroy. Obviously, George, especially at the end of that one, getting that one over the finishing line in emphatic style. But yeah, you're looking towards the likes of Leon and him to really manage to stamp something on the series here. I think I did see Leon actually run an MP40. Whether or not he's running that for this entire series, we'll wait to see, because we normally tend to see at least 3 automatons and 3 assault rifles, don't we, on Gavutu?
Yeah,
so this might be an opportunity for those kind of flex players to really leave a stamp on the series.
Yeah, and I mean, when we talk about this Gavutu control, when we talk about Gavutu in general, obviously a lot of it comes down to good boat control, because it obviously gives a lot of geography for the AR player to be over, not necessarily at hard point, because we do see a lot of action over towards beach, P1, P3, and P1, P3 and P4 obviously do tend to straddle that beach quite consistently, but Gavutu control is all about boat control. Obviously, if you want to get control of that A zone, you're going to need to get that upper boat, but also obviously it gives you some potential transitional kills if players are trying to defend across to P1 from that kind of back dock side, especially for that B defense. So it's super important that your ARs are able to control that area. And then obviously looking to get B, you don't really see very many successful caps on that zone from a straight beach push, so you do need players to be able to hold that docks area, push through and get the pinch, which again requires that mid control. So it's interesting to see how these two teams are going to play it. It's only new into the rotation. The strategies are going to be pretty fresh. So I mean, there's a lot, not just a lot of work in terms of gun skill, but there's going to be a lot of thought that needs to go into this. And you're right to say the AR player is going to play a huge part, not just in terms of controlling the map, but supporting, you know, the odd SMG player that they have got in the side in terms of being able to hold the time and get those ticks over. And lastly, I would suggest that you'll probably see that B zone, if it does get taken, it'll happen in 2 chunks. It seems to be that the way of things at the minute, where we see them get about a tick and a half, but and not really, doesn't even get drained back. A lot of the players starting to kind of like not waste the time on the drain, but look to push out and get these kills further in advance. So should be an interesting map nonetheless, and yeah, looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, this is kind of one where this is the beauty of finally having control back, because it is kind of literally that it feels like at times that in between search and destroy and hardpoint. Obviously, before we've seen it where, especially after map 1 and 2, XC Alpha looked like a very prestigious S&D side, and Unbelievable Jeff looked like a very solid hardpoint side. So now we've got this kind of this middle game mode, this middle ground of them crossing over potentially to try and find out who could maybe take the swing round here in this one, because obviously that hardpoint, as good as it looked from Unbelievable Jeff, the search and destroy from XC Alpha equally just as good. So I think this might, if it is going to go Game 5, this might be the one that separates them, because the way we've seen the first 2 maps unfold, XC Alpha, they do look a bit more comfortable when they have more time to think about what they're doing and get more structured, whereas Unbelievable Jeff just seem to have kind of that raw pace to just throw themselves at hills and hard points and win gunfights and rotations, and those SMG players definitely seem to perform really well for Unbelievable Jeff. So on a map, especially with Gavutu, where they might not be able to run as many lanes and try and slip through as easily as they can on a Tuscan, it's going to be an interesting matchup, this one, for sure.
Yeah, I think you're correct. This definitely should lean towards an XC Alpha potentially winning it, but then you have that complete flip in map 4 where Bokar, as you would suggest, goes the way of Unbelievable Jeff with that slightly elevated aggression. And obviously they was very comfortable potentially running 3 SMGs as well, which they'll probably run in Bokaj. So yeah, I think we're going to be potentially on for another Super League Game 5, and it wouldn't surprise me if that S&D was a complete flip to the one that we've just seen. And it was, you know, Tuscan obviously has got, it lends itself to teams as well that aren't as coherent with S&D. They can react a little bit quicker, like a regular kind of in a regular kind of gunfight way. But we'll see how it pans out. I mean, again, we've been made to eat our words time and time again. So I'm just so reticent to plant a flag anywhere. It's bizarre. But right now, I would suggest coming out of the S&D XC Alpha looking like the more composed side when it comes to that higher level strategy, and Unbelievable Jeff looking very good in that kind of close quarters, high aggression kind of gameplay.
Yeah, and I definitely think now with a map like Gavutu, where you rely on that third assault rifle player to really kind of hold his own, I would say whoever is the flex on either of these teams could potentially be the game changer here in this one, because those automatons, when they're firing, like we saw the other day. What was the series? I can't remember what it was actually off the top of my head. It was the Mistaken One versus Team Toki. Those assault rifle players, when they come into their own, and we saw kind of Ben, like an example was Ben on the Bocage. When he was running MP40, he was really struggling, and then you put him on a map where he's comfortable with an assault rifle, and then they did a hell of a lot better, and he did a hell of a lot better individually. So I think those flex role players, especially on these game 3s, will be really big swing and really big influences on the series.
I'm just, on that note, to an extent, this is why we think we're kind of like desperately in need of a quality DLC, so that we can look to maybe rotate some of these like headless chicken maps out, and the ones that aren't as balanced. So obviously, I think Bocage and Demyansk are probably the primary favourites to be rotated out, but Gavutu Control, I would suggest as well, is definitely probably more than a Bocage Hardpoint or a Bocage S&D, just purely because kind of people have just got used to it being there and used to it as a potential map that they can use to win. So it wouldn't surprise me if hopefully we'll see that get rotated out for a more balanced map, because right now I would suggest Gavutu is just, it's great if you're an attacking side, you get access to that middle point. It's a little bit easier. I don't know, it's a weird one, but we'll see it potentially get rotated out. But it's always provided a very interesting focal point now that we've got away from that central 2 hardpoint meta that we were in. So let's just see how it goes, man. I'm truly excited to see how it plays out, and especially in terms of Unbelievable Jeff, who clearly enjoyed that kind of fast pace.
Yeah,
just to see how they respond to it.
Yeah. Oh man, we're getting hell of a lot of dev errors. Apologies, guys. We actually got an update literally mid-series. So as soon as that game ended, it was like, oh, you need to restart for the update, because I think they've done something in potentially Warzone. But we are now pretty much ready to go for this one. And also, what I will quickly do, Mr. Sam Raiden dropping by in the chat. He was meant to have Aqua as a fill-in for tonight, because Terry Oggs has gone away. If there is an assault rifle player around the Div 2, Div 3 level, drop Sam a message, because they might potentially need a fill-in for a series this evening. I don't think we can add any more. Okay, maybe not. I mean, if the other team allows them to have another player, then fair enough. Obviously, drop Sam a message. If you want to get a game, if you want to play a game of Call of Duty at 8 PM and you're an assault rifle player, drop him a line, because it looks as though Aqua's train is running late, so he's not potentially going to be able to fill in for that one. So if you can, drop Sam a message and help the boys of RAF out. I'm sure they'll love you forever. But yeah, anyways, Pabs, onto this one. We're just quickly getting lobbied up. But yeah, do you have, after the first 2 maps, is there a particular player that you're looking at after the first ones? We saw the boys of Unbelievable Jeff, well, they had that really good respawn map, didn't they? Is there anyone that you're potentially looking to, as if to say, right, you did well in the hard point, now you've got to do well in the control, because the search was a little bit ropey?
Just Dizzy, I would suggest, maybe the player that did really, really well. I think Troke is the player that needs to kind of up his game at the minute in terms of his contribution. I think he did really well getting time, but in a game mode where kills are vital, I think he needs to up his contribution in the slaying department. But Dizzy, really more than anyone else, I think S&D was, did what he did, and he did what he could, but he got bodied a couple of times quite effectively. And going into this, I think him and Destroy as a pair are going to need to really go off, otherwise they're going to get dominated by Leon and Ali. I think that's the thing they need to be concerned about, is that Ali looks very, very strong and very aggressive, and we already know Leon is a very capable player. So if those two, I think Dizzy and Destroy, don't go off, this is going to be a difficult map for Unbelievable Jeff.
Yeah, so we are loading in towards the Gavutu control. Another talking point as well, Pabs, on the Gavutu control. Obviously, we have the A site, and I think it's the B site is the one over towards the beach. That looks as though it's the more kind of the one that everyone seems to go for, doesn't it? It's the one that, like, okay, if we've lost A, we need to kind of set up shop at B, because once you get the setup on B, it's a really, really difficult one to try and break into.
Yeah, I think that's purely because of the spawns. The way the spawns pan out is that, once you have a couple of players drop immediately at A, your instant reaction is then potentially to try and get the surprise and push over, split the other team. I'm not sure how effective it is, because I think it's a straight run to A. I think you should either just completely have your strategy, like get A at all costs, and then try and get B, or don't hedge your bets, because B is a really difficult one to get. The opposition team spawn right on top of it. It's just, if they've got streaks as well, it's going to be really difficult to stay in that streak carrier. So I don't know, we're going to see exactly how it goes. Dizzy gets absolutely bodied by George's grenade out the blocks, and the defense is on from Leon straight away, and already out the blocks. We've seen a good performance.
Well, I'll tell you what.
From XD Alpha.
That explosion right off the start scared the absolute shit out of me. I think I need to turn my headsets down because that was scary, but really good work from the boys of XC Alpha right off the rip. It looks as though they aren't going to have that early controller on the defensive side because I suppose this boat hill is one where a lot of teams prefer to have the high ground, and obviously coming from that side of cliff, you can just hop straight onto it, whereas the boys of XC Alpha are going to have to try and work their way up the more difficult route up the ladder onto the top, or either trying to work their way up the tank. So it looks as though the boys of XC Alpha are going to try and potentially get a contest on here. Leon with some good timing might be able to make the play. Nice work there to take down one. There's still going to be another man nearby. Destroy is still getting this progression to come through. You can see Troc is just lurking over towards the B site, and every second that he tries to at least stay alive here, Pablo, this is really going to make XC Alpha really try and commit to, right, do we get this man off of the B point now, or do we just kind of leave him there, hope we can get him off A, and then try and take him off of B a little bit later?
Yeah, this is the thing. I mean, you can't leave him because you know it's not going to take as long as they think it's going to take to get to, you know, 1 or 2 ticks. And if you get 2 ticks towards B while someone else is capping A, then it's going to be game over. And right now, you know, the boys from Unbelievable Left doing a great job of getting as much time on A while distracting XCL from the kill feed rather disturbingly is red, and it is that A down. So 130 in order to try and get B with a life advantage as well, Major. So you would suggest that the boys in red are just having a bit of a regain after that S&D slap and doing very, very well in the process. It's still fairly tight, and it is going to take a monumental effort to try and get this B. We talk about the pinch that's required, and this is obviously going to be require a good defensive posture from the guys in purple. But I'd say they're probably just going to be struggling for time. Again, it's going to go right to the wire, Major.
Yeah, starting out. Really good work from Pack. 8 and 2, looking for more, and nice shots again to grab his third in a row. And the boys of Unbelievable Jeff now with a 3 life advantage, going to try and work their way over towards the B site. But you can see Leon, automaton in hand. Looks as though he's obviously going to be on that bandwagon for assault rifle players. And a big kill there from George to at least allow his teammates to try and reposition and push their way up. He is just holding the angle, but Dizzy behind the rock. Really nice angle. Gets the first kill, and that B progression is slowly coming through. They need to try and get Dizzy off the hill here, because if Pack can try and keep him alive here and just watch over the top of him, this is going to be a big bit of play. But nice work from the boys in purple, Pablo. They managed to work all the kills, and it looks as though Unbelievable Jeff are going to have to try and regroup and push again. But nice work from Destroy also.
Yeah, absolutely. They did a good job of getting onto the hill, but it's so difficult to defend, and the boys in purple took up really nice positions, taking the heads clean off Unbelievable Jeff. Destroy doing everything he could to stay in that P1 area, which has been really useful for them. They did manage to spawn up quite close, but you can see right there a team wipe and the damage it does. Are they even going to get across to the hill in time? They're potentially going to get taken down. This is going to be a really difficult moment, and a potentially a very easy defense now going into the latter stages of this first round of Gavutu control.
Yeah, and it's really coming down to it now. It's 2 versus 2. This is a big kill for Troc. Can he get Leon off the hill? Yes, he can. So now Enforcer, he needs the 1 versus 2. He's on the contest, but I think his death might be pretty much inevitable here if they manage to get the team shots through, and they do. So Unbelievable Jeff kind of proving that they're good in respawn, Pabs. They did it on the hard point. We kind of threw the question mark over onto the control, but a good round from the boys in red, and they take the lead.
Yeah, and we talk about the balance in this game, and this is the second time we've seen this control go down to the wire. 0.5 seconds. We saw it yesterday as well. It was right at the end, so good play from Unbelievable Jeff. You know, just to make me eat my words again, they absolutely pushed through to get onto that hill, get the kills, and it just shows you how difficult it can be on this defensive side. And we've said it time and time again, part of this imbalance is this kind of favour towards the boys attacking. They can get right across to A really quickly, and then obviously getting that pinch and using that geography to do better. But this is the moment for XC Alpha. You know, we suggest they're very strong, and I would suggest even that Unbelievable Jeff did this despite slightly being outslaved. So a good play from the guys in red. But this again, Gavutu just giving us this kind of crazy plays.
Yeah, so Troc up in top boat, not able to grab another gunfight win there as Ali manages to get an important kill. He will get traded out, but Leon trying to push out some lanes here. The boys in purple look to try and work this attacking round here. First tick is going to come through. George just staying down for the time being. Just seeing if he can grab a potential couple of kills there. Dizzy is going to get spotted going up top, and nice shots there from George. He is going to still get some more progression coming through, but he knows that Destroy is there on the pinch, and this middle map control really starts to show here in control, and it looks as though the boys in red, Unbelievable Jeff, they are going to try and work some lanes here. in the middle of the map. Can they manage to get any more destroys? Slowly edging his way up, and I suppose this is the danger, isn't it, Pablo? On control, we know how badly some of the spawn traps can be, and if Unbelievable Jeff managed to pull this off, this could be brutal for XC Alpha in terms of lives, because Destroy's on the flank, and he might potentially get quite a few of them just underneath him.
Yeah, it's been really nice playing, and you know, that's one thing you want to do is obviously get as much coverage as possible as the defensive team and just start to get these picks. But you can see number 8 there, Leon, sneaking through. He hasn't realised there's a player behind him, and he's going to be able to get onto the hill. I'm sure that's going to take number 3 by surprise, but it just shows you how effective it can be in terms of just getting those kills and forcing that team to spawn out even further. And just look at the time, 26.5 seconds, and Destroy just trying to edge over and get a few of those kills. We can see that battle going down towards Beach right now, but again, Unbelievable Jeff just looks super strong. I mean, this is going to be an uphill battle, and we're going to see the series go back and forth again. 18 seconds I've got a feeling A is going to get ticked over, and with 1 minute and 16 though, and a 16 to 10 advantage for Unbelievable Jeff, which goes even further the way of the boys in red. This is going to be a tricky round for XC Alpha, and a big moment. And you know, the 2 players we pointed out at the start that needed to go big is Ali and Leon right now, and they are heavily on the struggle bus.
Yeah, and number 5, George, is going to get a pick over towards the A site. The progression has come through, but now with 1 minute left, they're going to have to be quick here, XC Alpha. Pack is still lurking just underneath them, and you can see they're really struggling to try and get in a good position here. And if Pack just looks left, there's 2 players ready for the taking. One of them will fall. He grabs the second as well, and now XC Alpha down to 7 lives. They don't have a huge amount of map control either, so now will Unbelievable Jeff push through, or will they manage to drop a few? Ali is going to manage to grab one, and so too will George. Is he still lurking in mid? We'll spot Ali round the back, and if their comms aren't crisp enough, he might be able to grab a couple of kills. Ali is going to take down one. So now down to 6 lives, and it's really coming down to the wire now here in round number 2. Leon is going to have to try and work his way onto the point really shortly, because they've got 13 seconds left to do this, but Trock is just in complete turret mode out the back. He's not going to allow Leon any sort of breathing space, and they're going to have to move quickly here, because every single second is starting to tick through, but they're not. I don't even think they're going to be able to touch this unless Leon can go absolutely massive. Oh, he gets on 0.3 of a second. He gets inside, but now can they make the play? Number 1 Pack, he's going to be nearby to try and make the trade. 9 HP, the contest comes through, but oh my goodness, if they win this next gunfight, you know, XC Alpha, they are getting this done potentially, as Dizzy gets some shots into one. Trock wins a gunfight, but now it's 3 versus 2. They take the last man out. He's falling by the wayside. They run out of time, and Unbelievable Jeff do about enough to get that round done, Pabs, but they made a bit of a meal of it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That was insane plays towards the end. And again, we see that jump over carrier, which is so effective for the guy inside. Does not expect that coming. But yeah, you talk about going down to the wire one more time. A player able to get on the kill, but just not enough. The damage was done, you would suggest, long before the A capture. And XC Alpha just not able to do enough, despite the heroics of Leon, despite the heroics of Fortune George. Again, Ali don't want to struggle bus at 10 and 18, but look at that performance. Trock on a 15 and 12. Destroy on a 15 and 12, but look at the top pack. The player we didn't even talk about before the game, 19 and 13, played absolutely superb Call of Duty, and the guys in red looking incredibly strong. And again, we see this complete reversal of fortune going into this YouTube control. Crazy plays, bearing in mind just the damage that was done in Berlin. Crazy game so far, Major.
Yeah, really efficient trades again from Unbelievable Jeff. They did manage to finally stop at least one of those players in red. But now the progression comes through. The first tick is almost there, and again, there's that that booming explosion. It's like a Michael Bay film when somebody throws a stun at those barrels. But Leon, is he going to make the chout? They're still waiting. Pack is inside. Manages to spot the gun. Oh, and his teammate keeps him alive. And somehow he's not able to get the kill. So look at the combined streak now. But Unbelievable Jeff, it was sat at 9. They have finally managed to drop Dizzy. But the boys in red at the moment, Pabs, they are steaming to potentially what could be a win here on this map. 8 point done. 2 minutes on the clock. And the life count, look at the difference. Currently sat at 9.
Mate, honestly, a 7 streak between them. You've got Trop going off in the hill, absolutely backed up, which is what we talked about before going in. That backup you get from your AR and your SMG plays when you are on the kill is absolutely vital. And they steam through A. 1 minute 50 seconds to capture B, and we've seen how effective they are. What can XC Alpha do? We've got Enforcia out towards the back, trying to do his best, but he's got no information. He's not picking anyone up. And this is so important that XC Alpha able to regain, because this is the last very possible point, and it's 21 lives play 16. This is going to be huge. They are doing a great job though. They've brought that back from 9 lives to 4 lives, so great performance from the boys in purple. But again, you know, what can the boys in red do? A huge performance going out the blocks there for Unbelievable Jeff.
Yeah, George, really good map control as well. Just locking down his lanes that he needs to on Gavuto, and the combined streak currently sat at 9 will finally stop as Enforcia gets taken down, but George is still just being a pain at the moment. That clock is ticking. They will manage to push their way over towards P1. They just need to try and stop those players over towards the boat side. You can see Leon up in towards the boat, is still hunting for more players, but now they've actually managed to get destroyed on the hill, and this is where it gets a little bit dangerous here now for the boys of Unbelievable Jeff. Can they manage to make the plays here? Destroy inside the boat. He's managed to stay alive. That's a really big kill that Destroy has managed to get. And now he's going to invest some streaks here. They want this done, and they want this done quickly. XC Alpha spawning out. They're going to have to leg it over towards the hill paths, but look at the control that Unbelievable Jeff have got at the moment. Every single kill is coming through, and that progression's still coming through as well. But oh my god, you can shoot through the boat? I didn't know that was a thing.
That is absolutely surprising to me. Has that changed in the update?
I don't know.
That was insane. You take away your primary source of cover on that B zone. That is a problem right there if you can shoot through that boat. And again, Enforcia getting tagged up, so it is looking, unless they're getting shot to the head. But Dizzy and that absolutely working together. Every player from Unbelievable Jeff pushing past the 20 mark. Huge plays right now. And 35 seconds left to do it. And you suggest, you know, the history from the previous game stats, an awful lot of time for the boys from XC Alpha to do it with one player remaining in the heroic Just George. This is going to be Unbelievable Jeff, mate, with a 3-0 win in control, and we see this Vanguard again surprises us and makes us eat our words. You know, we felt XC Alpha were going to be the more coherent team going into this major. It's Unbelievable Jeff who brought it back.
Yeah, Mr. Jacko coming through with the raid. Thank you very much, Jacko. How was the games, mate? Jacko also casting some of the Super League games. Be sure to head over to his channel and drop him a follow as well, because he'll be covering quite a lot of them as the season progresses. But back onto this one, Pablo. It's an FMJ. Oh, yeah, Theo's just said, yeah, so with FMJ, you can actually shoot through that thing now, that carrier. So that's a bit of a game changer, really, in terms of what we've come to expect from Gavuto. If you can get the FMJ on and rattle the player through the boat, it saves you so much effort in just trying to get control on, especially on the defensive side of things.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, I'm not sure how much difference that FMJ is going to make to the rest of your game within that Gavuto, but if you can just if you're defending, you can get from even attacking, you can get 4 players on that, then you can absolutely destroy whoever's in there, and you would suggest that. I mean, it's an interesting maneuver, you know, kind of like change, but it's still wild when you consider that your primary piece of cover. I mean, at least you've got boat to provide you the cover in A, but if the troop carrier is eminently penetrable, then it's a problem right there, and you would suggest the defensive side maybe adds a bit of balance to that. But Unbelievable Jeff goes and absolutely destroys, you know, every round, just looking solid. So makes us eat our words. And again, that Berlin S&D, you know, just shows again that right now we don't really have a map that really tells us one way or another which team is better. Obviously, we're still very early in the season as well when you consider we're running all the way up to August, so there's still a lot of time for these teams to settle and for strategies to kind of to get settled. But crazy plays, man. And again, flag planting just not going to happen, mate, without a season, and I just think it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll go for it, right? Just based on the previous maps, and we're going into a Bocage, which we know can be extremely slay heavy. I'm going to go with Unbelievable Jeff. I hope the boys of XD Alpha, especially Ali, doesn't send me any angry messages for this one. Yeah, just long old boos. But the way they've looked in respawns, Unbelievable Jeff on a map where you know it's incredibly quick, and it's one where the aggression, especially of SMG players, can really come through. I mean, Pack especially and Dizzy, they've looked really, really good with the MP40s in their hands whenever we've seen them. And it's going to take a big bit of work from XC Alpha. You're going to be looking to the likes of Ali, as we mentioned, to really put up some big numbers here with this respawn, because it's one where, on paper, after the first series, excluding the search, Unbelievable Jeff and Dizzy especially, who's already on a 4 streak off of a P1, which is not an easy thing to do, they are looking good right out of the gates.
Yeah, absolutely. 24 seconds on a P1, which is normally heavily contested. We do finally see it switch over, but obviously that is the natural way of things. Is the team who starts on the other side look to try and flip and get that control of back tin and field. We are going to see number 6. It's going to be Enforcia, just trying to do a solo defense, which is almost impossible to do, and it's going to be Unbelievable Jeff getting that move around to that P2, and already looking like a very strong side. We didn't really see this coming out of that first set of rotations in the first Tuscan hardpoint, we did see XE Alpha have a lot more joy in that, but right now, Unbelievable Jeff firing on all cylinders and looking superbly strong. And who's out there but Trock on a 4-2 with 20 seconds, and followed by Dizzy. Well, Dizzy just takes that kill lead in 6-4 with 22 seconds. So solid performance. And mate, this is an early big lead, really. You don't see this very often, but it's right now it's approaching 50 seconds, and this is a worry major if you are a fan of XE Alpha or a player.
Yeah, and Destroyer's got a series of really important kills. He got the kill onto Ali right out the back of that P2. So the boys of Unbelievable Jeff, they have got a huge amount of time. This is probably the best start to a Bocage hardpoint that we've probably seen in terms of time. I really don't want to jinx this. I'm hoping Destroyer is going to... Oh, no, never mind. I just need to stop talking at this stage. But nice work from George, who was struggling for the time being. And I think Destroy did manage to get just about enough for streaks, and he did. So he does at least have a glide bomb as the boys of XC Alpha try and trade it out. And they all importantly, perhaps, they've got the rotation towards the next hill, but now they really need to start racking up some time here because they are down by about 50.
Yeah, Leon with a really big brain play. You had Pack who'd made this huge flank around the back tree, around that kind of L and over towards that back alley, and you expected him to get spawns, but Leon hiding right at the back of spawn, and as Pack pushes through to Granny, he does get taken out, and that gave XC Alpha the spawns that we're now seeing them try and get the benefit of, but it is going to take a big fight. It is going to be Unbelievable Jeff just getting those spawns, but this is one of those hills potentially where you are able to fight from the front, but it is going to take a big push from the boys in purple to maintain this. And what do we see? Unbelievable Jeff again just walk through them like butter, and now they've got control of the house, and this is going to go down again. We're going to see this push as the contest continues into another heavily contested hill, which is going to be barn, and the wildness continues. But Major, you've got to consider 40 seconds. They brought it back quite nicely, and there is only a handful of seconds remaining on that hill as we go into barn.
Yeah, and the man who's currently proven to be a bit of an X factor on this map so far, Leon, is just currently on the hill alongside his teammate in George, and George struggled right off the start, but he's managed to really bring himself back into it. But Leon's going to get taken down, and now the boys in red are going to try and work their way around the back. Ali is going to manage to grab one. Enforcer still locked out the back. He's going to take down one, but the trades come through. The kill feed's red, and this is exactly what we mean by Unbelievable Jeff. When they get going in the kill feed, they do not stop. There's another set of kills to put them in 7 in a row combined now, and the boys of XC Alpha getting pinned back a little bit. Leon is going to finally retaliate with 1 kill. George with 1. Leon is actually going to manage to grab a second as well, and just when they potentially needed it, because it was getting a little bit brutal. Still 15 seconds remaining of the time. George around the back, shots into 1. Isn't going to manage to go through Pack on that occasion, as Trot is still lurking over towards the new hill, and this is a really big gunfight here. He's got his teammate near him, Leon, going for the reach out, but the boys in red trade him out really efficiently, and it looks as though their setup here, Pablo, could potentially be a really menacing one.
Yeah, I mean, the reads on the spawns were just outrageous for Unbelievable Jeff. They read them over to Tin, they read them over towards back spawn, and they read them over towards backfield, and just got so many points, you know, able to accumulate a solid 35-40 seconds on that barn, and then a huge team wipe allows them to just stroll all the way over towards this P5, and they've got, you know, a solid 30, you know, you've got to say 25 seconds before they do get breached eventually. So this is an opportunity now for XC Alpha to try and grab themselves a good chunk of 30 seconds and bring themselves back potentially to within 15 seconds. Destroy going to throw out the glide and land it straight onto the cap of Enforcer, and with the kill feed, just George doing a little bit of heroics, and he's himself, you know, along with Ali, just trying to do his best. He's 11-14 with a good quality 25 seconds, but no one really getting to grips with this game. You would suggest Dizzy probably doing the best in terms of kills, but Trock, again, you've got to go back to that man who had a great first round in terms of time, first hard point, and he's doing it again with a minute and 2 seconds on the kill. But again, they're just not turning any of the kills XC Alpha into time, and this could be a problem, you know, as we get into the middle part of this second rotation, Major. Still a lot of work for the boys in purple to do.
Yeah, and as per usual, every single engagement pretty much is for that P2. So now the boys of Unbelievable Jeff, we saw they held a big amount of time off that P1 and P2. Can they manage to do it again in the second rotation? That lead has now been pushed out, and Dizzy again looking to grab some more kills as Trock is going to try and grab a second. He's not going to be able to on that occasion. Ali looking for the trade. Pack will be there, though, so the efficiency of Unbelievable Jeff is starting to increase a little bit now for trades on this P1, and a good amount of time in their favour. Looks as though Pack is just going to try and reposition here. They've got to be careful, though, over towards the new hill. Trock's got to be careful not to overextend and potentially overchow something, as Pack now goes 5 in a row. And on for P1, that is not an easy thing to do. We'll see if he can manage to grab any more or just curse him like we always tend to do. But nice work from Pack. There's another kill. 6 in a row as he's going on a complete mission now to try and put XC Alpha to the sword, and it looks as though the boys in purple, they are going all the way around the back. They know the importance of this hill, and they know how good they did on the previous one. Unbelievable, Jeff, but Just George round the back he goes. 2 big kills, Pablo, but they got to be careful with Dizzy round the flank, but much better from those lads as they look to try and redeem themselves from the previous P2.
Yeah, some great reaction kills from Just George as he's able to know, despite being down on the KD, some of his kills have been absolutely vital in terms of challenging these hills. One thing you would suggest is Pac does have a glide in the back pocket. I'm sure he's not afraid to use it on these boys right now with 27 seconds remaining, although he might save a P5 if they think they can get the challenge, and they have been breaking. XC Alpha almost like butter, just sliding through them and spreading these boys thin across the map. So right now, Unbelievable Jeff still in that super strong position, still a full rotation ahead of the guys in purple, and they've just seemed to be able to destroy them at will as Destroy goes off and drops Enforcia and Just George. And, you know, potentially as we hit this latter phase of this game, Unbelievable Jeff just starting to rack the numbers up one more time with only one player, you know, not on 20 kills, and you would suggest Troc is going to get them, but he's got a solid amount of time. XC Alpha with a lot of work to do, Major. The question is, can they hold on to these hills, and can they effectively transfer over to Barn and get the time on one of the most difficult hills to do so?
Yeah, and we saw the efficiency that Destroy has in his locker when he was on that Ra roster, and he's going to get some more shots in and just try and control those lanes. But George, meanwhile, has actually managed to grab 6 in a row, so they will breathe a bit of a sigh of relief there as he manages to help his teammates out. Isn't going to manage to grab any more of those. Enforcia tries to lock down one lane. There's 2 for Enforcia. Really good work. We'll get some shots in the back by Mr. Destroy. None other than him as, yeah, he's done really well at the moment as Destroy with that Automaton in his back pocket. Really big kills coming through from him in moments where they've needed to. But XC Alpha, they are really starting to claw this lead back. That scrap time is going to put them within touching distance of Unbelievable, Jeff. And this rotation now, Pablo, this is going to be a potentially game-changing one if XC Alpha can try and manage to get those big kills and big engagements to go through in their favour.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, probably the campus reaction to a 3-piece in the history of commentating, but XC Alpha, you know, getting the kills, and Just George, you know, despite his heroics, still slightly down on his KD, but got a quality amount of time, and it's kept these boys in purple within touching distance of Unbelievable Jeff. And you would suggest that if they were able to do exactly what you just said, string a couple of 2-pieces, string a couple of 3-pieces together, get control of the hill, they're going to be able to get this back. But Unbelievable Jeff just looks so strong in these, you know, what are normally considered heavily contested hills. They've swallowed up so much time, and as they breach that 200 mark, Major, this is going to be a worrying kind of end phase towards this game. XC Alpha desperately need to get back into this, but not just that they've got to take this scrap time, they've got to go and get on the transition. Probably the most difficult transition on this Bocage is that P4 to P5, and right now the boys in red eminently set up to deliver most of the time.
Yeah, and George going on a bit of a worldy flank here. If he can manage to get some timing round the back here, because that new hill has now popped, and you can see Troc already sensing that something might be going on. It looks as though we are going to see a glide bomb come through from George, so he's just going to tuck himself away in the corner, and he gets Destroy as well. So now, is this the opportunity for George to try and work his way around the backpack? He's going to spot him. But if he can just stay alive here and be a bit of a pain, he might be able to be a thorn in the side of Unbelievable Jeff, because they're still racking up the time. But if they're going to go, they're going to have to go so much quicker than this. And Destroy out in the back, able to win one. Enforcia will manage to get a kill onto him, and he's still located out the back. But surely the contest comes through. Leon flies off the top row, and likewise will Ali, as Ali manages to get a really important kill there. And it looks as though he will manage to stabilize for the time being. Another glide bomb being invested, though. It looks as though Just George is going to be the candidate on that occasion. He's not going to grab the kill. An Unbelievable Jeff, they still don't have anybody currently on the hill. XC Alpha have done just about enough to keep them off of it, but they're not going to win off this hill, Pablo. But every single hill now is going to be huge for XC Alpha.
Yeah, absolutely. And you would suggest, you know, if they can get a solid chunk of time and maintain a contest on probably the easiest hill to contest on P1, this could be a huge game for them right now. They're not going to be able to win it. They are going to need to fight hard on P2, which historically in this game hasn't been good to them. But right now, XC Alpha have got the opportunity, and Just George is doing everything in his power to dominate this game and get into position. So it has been a great performance by him so far, despite being 6 down in the kill. In terms of KD, but XC Alpha have just got to go off now, and you've got to look to players like Leon, like Ali, to start dropping big numbers, and it's not going to go the way. Dizzy is going to get that over towards Tim with only 26 remaining. They haven't been able to take any time off P1 at all. They've literally just got their feet on it, and it's going to be Unbelievable Jeff set up intensely for P2 unless number 5, Just George, can go off big right now. He does get dropped by Pack, so that's going to be an important kill potentially in this game. But number 7, it is Leon who gets the kill, and he's still playing his life, and he's got to drop another player as he drops Pack, and one more player he does get fall eventually. So you would suggest, Major, this P2 going to be all important as the game slowly but surely gets tied up.
Yeah, they've got to run now. They have got 7 seconds to try and keep their series alive here, XC Alpha. Just George going to try and work something out here, and they do manage to get the full wipe here. So, oh my goodness, they can actually win off this hill. If they hold this perfectly, XC Alpha will cause probably one of the biggest upsets we've probably seen on a Bocage. But how long can they hold it for? Dizzy up top. He knows the man's in the contest spot, takes down George, and the collapse is coming through. I think they're going to be able to get this one done, unless Leon can go huge. Takes down 1, takes down 2, looking for the third, and oh no, Pack slams the door straight in his face, and unbelievable Jeff have absolutely none of it. They take the hard point, and more importantly, Pablo, they take the series 3-1.
Bocage never ever lets us down. It's one of the weirdest, wildest, craziest maps, and despite the efforts and heroics of XC Alpha, unbelievable Jeff just looking absolutely solid in every mode you would suggest, except for S&D, where XC Alpha looked really, really solid. But Dizzy destroyed Truck and Pack doing everything they needed to do and looked really comfortable, completely composed at all times throughout the game, and in fact throughout the hard points looking really good. But mate, you've got to look at that Gavutu control, a massive 3-0. They've definitely been skimming and playing that, because they have absolutely gone off in this game, and a deserved 3-1 performance. Back to the drawing board for XC Alpha though, and I'm sure Leon is going to have some advice for his cohorts and teammates. But again, we know they've got the gun skill. They just need to get that slight edge in terms of strategy, in terms of the right commitment to rotations. But Major, Super League not letting us down again.
Oh mate, we're only halfway, Pabs. We've still got another one of these crackers, and the boys of XC Alpha, they're going to have to hit a really big regain, because they are up against the Team Ricochet lads. So Luti's boys are going to be up next for them. But fair play to the boys in Unbelievable Jeff. They look very, very strong in respawns. They take every single one of them in the series, and they take it 3-1. Really clean work there from those lads. And the highlights, if you did miss any of the action, guys, is now going to be up on your screen. We are just going to quickly cut to a short break while the boys get their vetoes and stuff sorted out for our next series between XC Alpha and Team Ricochet. So if you do want to grab some food and grab a little bit of a drink, we will be back very, very shortly with our 8 o'clock series, due to start in about 15 minutes or 20 or so. And yeah, huge GG's there to both teams. Congratulations to Unbelievable Jeff. A big win coming through for those boys, because XC Alpha, they are no pushovers by any means, but they look very, very good. And we look forward to potentially casting them in the future in a couple more of their group games. But GG's there to both teams. But we will be back just after this short break, guys. Don't go anywhere.
something in us that keeps us going on throughout the darkness and into the unknown. There's something out there that tries to take us on, out from the open and right into the storm. It's alright, give it time. We are here and we're alive. It's okay, keep the pace. We can find the new. For everything that we lost, every scar that we gained, every moment is built We gonna drown all night. We gonna run all the red lights. So baby, turn it up. Wanna feel that rush, yeah. We gonna drown all night. We gonna run all the red lights. So baby, turn it up. Wanna feel that rush, yeah. We gonna drown all night. We gonna run all the red lights. So baby, turn it up. Wanna feel that rush, yeah. We gonna drown all night. We gonna run all the red lights. So baby, turn it up. Wanna feel that rush, yeah.
Let me dream of the ocean and the waves taking over. Let me dream of the ocean and the waves taking over. Let me dream of the ocean, love's deep devotion, and the waves taking over. Our stars in motion, I'll drown in your heart when the sun goes down. Leave me in the sand, it's a midnight falling. Let me dream of the ocean, love's deep devotion, and the waves taking over. Our stars in motion, I'll drown in your heart when the sun goes down. Leave me in the sand, it's a midnight falling. traffic lights are hating the street. It's too early in the morning to talk. Silence is nice to me. Fast cars are passing by. As time decided to move, we have been down out high. I've got nothing left to lose. We are lost, 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 lost. We are lost, 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 lost. We are lost, lost, lost.
What up, Squadron? We're not muted this time. I can see the audio levels. I've not managed to pulse it up this time. And we're back for our second series of the evening in the ACCL Super League. We've got the boys of XC Alpha back for another one. And they've got another tasty outfit who you know a lot about on the other side of the pond for this one.
Man, they are up against it in this one, but it's great practice for them. It's a good opportunity just to see where they are in terms of the gun skill, because we know the boys from Unbelievable Jess have just done a job on them in terms of strategy, kind of like a longer term chemistry that they've clearly got. But you don't get there, you don't get to being, you know, as good as you want to be without playing these kind of guys. And Team Ricochet obviously stacked from top to bottom. I mean, aside from probably the two most notable players in Luti and Fudzy, you know, Drills and Ross J are two players that Luti regards as being some of the best in terms of gun skill he's ever seen, and they're a solid side. And you know, when you've got someone, you know, like Lewis, who's got like a really solid understanding of the game, like probably better than anyone else in Europe, you know, arguably, maybe except for the Spanish lads and a couple of the August boys, it's just, you know, they still have looked to him for their kind of like strategy and coaching and stuff. So a big step up for XC Alpha. And again, you know, we know the likes of Leon and that can definitely hang in terms of gun skill. This is going to come down to being able to be disciplined and consistent from the very start of the map to the very end, because, you know, one thing this Team Ricochet team are not going to do is take the foot off the gas. But we have seen them be turned over before.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that. Just a quick shout out as well to I think it's Nasta and Mr. Fudzy Malone. Thank you very much for the follow, buddy. And yeah, I mean, it's difficult to talk about the Team Ricochet roster without obviously bringing up that final when they came up against the boys of Vitalize. Obviously, they're coming up against a slightly different roster in XC Alpha in terms of that they've not kind of got an opposing team where they've got Gabe and Johnny in it. Obviously, who we know how very good they are as a roster, and the boys of XC Alpha probably you would put in the next bracket down below the likes of Johnny and Gabe. So they've got a slightly different outfit across from them on this occasion. And we talk about the previous series as well that we've just seen. For anyone who did miss it, XC Alpha, they fell to the boys of Unbelievable Jeff 3-1, and every single map they dropped was a respawn. So especially with this map pool, Pabs, which I am just going to ping up now, you're looking at the respawns, especially obviously we've got a Bocage in there again, and we've got a Tuscan Control this time, so slightly different. But you're really looking towards the boys of XC Alpha to really try and get something going in the respawns in this one, because you mentioned the likes of Luti, and I mean, as a roster as a whole, you know they're going to be very, very good at search and respawns anyway. So they're going to have to really pull their finger out for this one, the XC Alpha lads.
Yeah, I mean, at the end, if you're gonna, you know, try and like go down the road of being positive, you've probably got to look to how wild Bocage Hardpoint can be. Can it throw up another crazy scoreline? Can the guys from XC Alpha even remotely hang with them, or can they just pinch something? Maybe, you know, that the fact that they've only just played it might actually play into their hands a little bit, and then they go into that Berlin S&D where they look really strong. So, and we know S&D can kind of level the playing field a little bit. So if you were going to pick two maps potentially where there could be an opportunity for XC Alpha to maybe surprise everyone, you would suggest Bocage Hardpoint, and then from their performance in the previous round, the Berlin S&D. Any other maps and you'd be like straight away probably not going to win it. I would still suggest that Team Ricochet are going to take these maps, but they not going to get a better opportunity with the first two maps to go potentially at least 1-0 into the lead and potentially 2-0. But again, you know, we don't want to plant our flag too early because it's kind of disrespectful to XC Alpha. But Team Ricochet look very strong on paper. And
obviously another thing to note is, based on the back of that grand final, Team Ricochet have got a point to prove now. They don't want to come into this one. Obviously people kind of poking a bit of fun at the lads when Vitalize won that grand final. but they're going to come out of this one, and they're going to want to prove a point in this division. Obviously, there's a lot of money to be played for, so they're going to want to top the group in order to push through into the bracket play. And it wouldn't surprise me here if we get a Team Ricochet that are really ramped up for this series. And I do feel for the XC Alpha boys, because they're going to be the first team that they come up against off the back. I believe this is their first game, Team Ricochet, off the back of that grand final. So they're going to really want to come out with this one with a 3-0 and get the job done and kind of, brush their hands of it and be like, right, okay, yeah, we're here to play.
Yeah, and the thing you've got to consider as well, Major, is that final was so long ago in COD terms that Luti's had his hands on this team for that length of time, and they have had consistent scrims with consistent VODs for that entire time from Monday through Friday for those weeks. And, they've been able to go back and forth over them. They'll have scrimmed 4 o'clock and 6 o'clock today, so they'll be absolutely warmed up. They'll have ran through every hard point right the way through, so they'll be thoroughly warmed up and ready for this. So XC Alpha with a mountain to climb it's not an understatement to suggest that this is going to be this could potentially be, we talk about them having an opportunity in these 2 maps, but this could also be potentially quite a battering that they're going to get. You don't get a team as warmed up as a challenger team at this time, because they've done all their regular scrims. Some teams do scrim at 8, but it'd be interesting just to see just how warmed up they are. But these, you just, aside from Fudzy and Luti, Drills and Ross J are just 2 very, very capable players. Superb gun skills, superb knowledge of the game mechanics, and just, you're potentially going to get to see them on top of their A game right now, and they've had just that little bit more time to work with the 2 more experienced players. So this could be a shit show to all intents and purposes.
And well, coming away from this specific series, obviously we've just seen on Twitter one of the announcements with the update that we actually had midway through the previous one. Quite an important one for anyone who doesn't know. Glide bombs now, they players with flak jacket are no longer Iron Man, so glide bombs will kill people if it lands right on their noggin, even with flak jacket. And it's quite a big change that we saw, obviously, when we've got the likes of Gavutu, where that P3 is so glide bomb dominant. We saw, I think, was it Mistaken? I think no, it wasn't. It was the Iniquity lads. They opted to double glide bomb someone, just to get them out of one of the hills, I believe, if memory serves me well. So we're now back to what it was before, where those streaks now. I'm not sure whether they've tweaked the requirements for the streaks just yet. We'll have to wait and see. I don't think they have, but if the glide bombs are still a 5 kill streak and they kill people in 1, they're back to being very, very important. If you have someone on the other team that's on a 4 streak, you need to make sure you kill them short of 5, especially on some of those Berlins and the likes of even a Tuscan. Really, on some of the hills, a glide bomb can be very, very pivotal. So having them back in now, where they one-hit kill some people, is going to be a very important factor.
Yeah, and just you bringing up the glide bombs just points to how the balance in the game, how vital it is to get it right, and I think they're still trying to tweak it. So I think you probably will see that replication from America, where it's 7 was required, and I think you're going to see that replication over here, especially if it's as effective as it used to be. So obviously it wasn't really a legitimate strategy, like going into a game, to need 2 glide bombs in Gavutu to get out to 3, because that requires 2 players to go on a 5 streak, which you can't rely on a wild map like Gavutu. But 1, it's we see this all the time. We do tend to see 1 player from a team get 5 kills, get that glide well into P2. So it's good that it's back in. It's good that there is a strategy to actually remove someone from the troop carrier, and now you've got that allied with the fact that you throw FMJ on and you can get players out of the troop carrier with that. So there are a number of ways now to manipulate that hill, which is good to see. Its impact on that Gavutu control we're not going to see, because it's a Tuscan, isn't it, controlling this time. It will be interesting if we do get another game whether we can see just how effective and how it changes the approach to the Gavutus, that B zone on Gavutu control. But I mean, we've got a hell of a set of maps coming into this, and it's just going to be interesting. Really, we just know it's going to be interesting to see just how far along Team Ricochet are from that final that we saw, and just how XC Alpha kind of try and handle this kind of much heavier weight of opposition.
Yeah, so we're just waiting on the boys to finish lobbying up, and we are now in with them. So we should be starting map number 1 shortly. But yeah, Mr. Wake has given us the DL that it's now 7 for a glide bomb pad. So obviously those players playing for streaks, they're not going to get them as quickly as they have been previously. So obviously they've reinstated the importance of the glide bomb, but they've made them a little bit more difficult to get a hold of. So it's going to be interesting to see how certain players opt to play for streaks.
Flipped it, though? Have they
so I
flipped
think
it now?
So I think they've made a glide. Well, No, because it was 5 and 6, and I think they've now made it 6 and 7. So a glide bomb
Okay.
is now just an additional one, and they've made the glide bomb the more expensive, if you will, out of the two
The
streaks.
strafe on Tuscan's almost kamikaze anyway at the best of times.
Yeah, I mean,
isn't it?
it's just a ball ache to use as well. You got to get your fucking
Yeah.
binoculars out, and you got to put them on the right spot. And
It's
by the time you
so
do it, you just get
slow.
spat on by an assault
you
rifle.
need like 25 seconds of time to give your team the heads up. Like, I'm going to use the strafe and run it. It's out. We're going to wait 5 seconds for the thing to come in. By that time,
Yeah.
your opposition have got 15 seconds kill time and then being wiped. So it's a really odd one, and it's unfortunate that it is so slow to call in. But yeah, it's probably right that it's 7, at least 7 anyway. You suggest that the 5
Yeah.
was a little too easy to get, especially when people were just getting it time and time again on that Gavutu by P2, and you
Yeah.
could see it all the time. And you
Yeah.
were talking about like the game you talked about earlier on, where they were double gliding that at troop carrier, so it's like way too easy to get. But again, how does that change the strategy? Probably just means you're going to get, once a player gets to 5, they're going to go into being that super cautious play where they want to get picks or at least want to get the kills and get the points over to get the glide. So yeah, I don't know. It's obviously not going to have a huge impact on us in this game so much because we get Tuscan control, and obviously Bocage. I mean, it's wild, but it's so difficult to get that kind of streak going on. I mean, we say that this is the week that we saw the 17 streak on Bocage, so just I'll stop talking now. But Berlin, yeah, going to be S&D, difficult to build streaks on. Bocage is going to be difficult to build streaks on. Berlin, Hardpoint again is going to be equally tricky as well. So, we're hopefully potentially going to see less glides and more use of like regular ordnance, like grenades and like stuns and things like that. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, and hopefully we're going to see ACCL for maybe just be warmed up and step up to the plate a little bit. Otherwise, this could be a difficult series for them.
Yeah, and quick shout out to Mr. Troque for the follow. GG's there in the previous series one, buddy. But I mean, yeah, it was more of a case of it felt like you did well to stop people from getting streaks more so than the player did well to get them.
Yeah,
and that's always something that if you see someone get streaks, it's like, wow, that player's done really well to get streaks. More of a case now, he's got 4 kills. Oh, that person that's killed him short of 5 has done a really, really good job. Because the amount of ordnance that we had, especially when Flak Jacket wasn't able to take glide bombs in full whack, it was something that you could just litter so many hills with glide bombs or strafing runs. So now it's definitely more a rarity now that we're going to see in the games. But I think it's a good balance. I think now it's probably where it should be, and where I think it always has really been. Like, kind of 7 has always been the good number for streaks. Obviously, even like when you go back to COD 4, like the helicopter in pubs, for example, was 7. It was kind of like you get 3, 5, 7, and to have a really powerful streak like the glide bomb, although it takes a long amount of time to hit the ground, with the importance on some of the rotations, it's definitely, I think, much more balanced. To see it now, currently sat at 6 and 7, and obviously the glide bomb being the more expensive of the two. And Mr. Conflux with the follow as well. Thank you very much, buddy.
I think it's interesting as well with regards to the glide that it just indicates either there was definitely a tendency for the developers to think about the casual player rather than the more competitive player, so that it was easier for casuals to get these kind of more powerful streaks. But then, at the same time, they have this incredibly powerful streak that you can get relatively easily. They realize it's too powerful, and so they nerf the hell out of it. So now you go and get 5 kills, and you've essentially got, a partial, something that was probably less powerful than a grenade in certain circumstances. So it shows just kind of like a lack of understanding about balance in the game. So yeah, I think you're right in the sense that 7 kills for a glide that can actually do damage now probably makes a bit more sense. And again, it just shows you how wild this Vanguard's been, and hopefully, by the mid, at least going into the next few 2Ks, we're going to see improvements across the board. I mean, are we still upside down on the codcast?
Yeah, buddy. Yep, still the wrong way around is the right way around.
It shows you how long it's been since I've even looked at the codcaster. But man, that is wild to think that we've got these like minor issues with attention to detail that have huge impacts, in and outside the actual point of firing an actual weapon. So yeah, but going into this, I think, I'll be surprised. I will be surprised. It's an easy flag plant, this one, I suppose, in a way. But I'll be surprised if we get to a Berlin hard point. It wouldn't amaze me, don't get me wrong. Bocage has absolutely thrown us under the bus before now, so it wouldn't amaze me. But just right now, I just think that ACCL are coming up against a very strong team who are probably at about to hit their peak in terms of the time they've spent together and the kind of level of scrims that they get, because they'll be playing the likes of August, the likes of Young Cretins and people like that, so they'll be playing the very best in Europe. And this is a great opportunity potentially for them to utilize some different strategies. So if you guys watching, have a nose at the minimap when you can, and try and garner what information you can from it, because that's exactly what they do to other teams.
Yeah, don't say that, Pabs. We'll have to block everything otherwise. You gotta be careful.
Don't watch it while you can.
Yeah,
no checks the bullshit in this.
Yeah. So yeah, guys, we are just loading into map number 1 for the Bocage hardpoint, and kind of focusing on this one now, Pabs. This is when you look at the series and you look at the maps, and kind of we know what Team Ricochet are going to bring to the table in this one. As XC Alpha, you're really looking towards this one and saying, right, we've got to take a Bocage. We've got to kind of engulf the madness that is a Bocage hardpoint and just try and put Team Ricochet out of their comfort zone and really try and get some momentum going in the series early doors. Because if they drop map 1 and then they go into more like a more structured map in like a Berlin search, you're thinking, oh, okay, this might get a little bit difficult.
I mean, you said something quite prescient the other week, which was that, when you look at the very, very top sides, when they play sides that aren't nearly as good, they are able to get like huge chunks of time off the money on the hills that are usually contested. I think you're potentially going to see something very similar to this, where Team Ricochet are going to have like a really good understanding of the spawns, and potentially it's going to be really difficult for XC Alpha to get involved in this game in that sense. But mate, you really want to see your players like Just George continue to have the kind of performance he had at the end of the previous Bocage, but mainly Ali and Leon are going to have to go big here, really go big to maintain any kind of fight over against these boys in purple.
Yeah, and good work by George. He had a really good set of moments, especially in some of the respawns here. So we'll see if he can manage to get some momentum going with this MP40 in hand. It looks as though the boys of Team Ricochet are going to have the man himself in Mr. Looty round the back with his new sexy camo. I think it was Looty that tweeted out how happy he was that he managed to get this camo, so he's going to pull it out for this occasion. And nice work in the back to grab George. There is still going to be Ali nearby, but Looty locks onto him, and really good kills there coming through from Looty, the veteran on the team, grabbing some all-important kills, and he does now grant himself and his team those all-important spawns.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Looty is a grinder, and he's not one of these players, no names mentioned, that hands over his account to get the camos. He will spend the evening just grinding away. He does absolutely love it. So big plays from him, and you can see that team in purple just starting to dominate early on. But it's been good play so far from XC Alpha. We can see Ali struggling again. He did struggle towards the end of the Bocage, so a big moment there the previous round. So big moment for him. Really needs to get into the game and force it as well. Struggling, but it's good to see Leon and Just George going toe-to-toe with these players, and this is what we wanted to see in this league, is this kind of performance. Ross J proving why Looty's got so much faith in him, though, as he's able to drop, and ominously that kill feed going quite purple. Ali does manage to get a kill on Drills, though, which is going to be good for the boys from XC Alpha. But right now there is going to be potentially a 30-second lead. This is still a better position for XC Alpha than in the previous game, where Unbelievable Jeff had taken a really big lead early on. So XC Alpha still in with a shout, but you would suggest they do need to get a grip of this game very, very soon. That's a great kill from Drills over towards Infosia, and Ali trade out with Fudzy as well. So, mate, there's still a long way to go, but it's still relatively close, only 30 seconds in it.
Yeah, and I think maybe something in the settings isn't correct. I think because I'm pretty sure they did actually manage to get the streak there. Yeah, Looty's got one, and so does Fudzy. So unfortunately, it isn't going to be 7 on this one. Whether it's something that the guys will have to change in game settings on their own for the time being. So we are still going to have 5 streak glide bombs, and now obviously killing in 1, they're going to be littered back to what we're used to seeing. But the boys of Team Ricochet only with around a 20-point lead as we go in towards the Granny Hill, but with around 10 seconds worth of scrap time, that is going to push it out. And Ross on a 5. Oh, he's just going to run short of ammo. Just when he was about to grab another one, Drills is going to look to try and hunt down a couple of players on the rotation. Nice couple of kills there from Drills. There is still going to be another man nearby in Ali, and he manages to trade him out. So good work from the boys of XC Alpha. They need to try and stop the boys of Team Ricochet really pushing through towards this next hill. They will spawn out the back, but Leon being spotted by Looty just on that heady on the outside of that right-hand lane of Barn. He's really making it work at the moment, and the kills are really coming through for Team Ricochet. And if you're the boys of XC Alpha, Pabs, when you look at Enforcia going 2 and 7, and every single player bar George is currently negative, it's a little bit worrying.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we were fearful of this at the start, and it really comes down to a really strong understanding of the spawns as they're coming out. Bocage is an absolute nightmare to predict sometimes, and obviously a little bit of more experience, they get a little bit more time to play at the higher level, so they're going to have a better understanding of where teams spawn. It's not a monumental lead by any stretch of the imagination, only 50 seconds, so we're still within that one rotation in terms of distance. Right now, Ali does look like he's starting to pick up. He's 11 and 14. Leon's dropped off terribly,
Oh,
though. He's beyond double negative. He hasn't got a lot of time in the hill. So right now, struggle bus right across the board for Alpha. And they are picking up some time, but they need to get a really good hold now. And hopefully you're going to see these players push out and get some kills towards mid so they can start to bring this back. Otherwise, this could be a worrying time for the team in white. And Team Ricochet going to bring in little bit of ordnance, and Luthi is going to drop that straight onto Just George's Bonds. And Team Ricochet potentially got one player left to push before they can get onto hill. But honestly, Major, Alpha done a good job at P5 so far.
Yeah, they've done an all right job, at least for the time being, but they need to try and get someone on the hill to potentially grab what remains on this hill, because it is a big 20 seconds here if Team Ricochet can push that lead out once again. Ross going to try and mantle on that occasion. It's not going to come off for him on that one. A nice shot though by Leon as he starts to push his way through towards the next hill, and Luti off the top rope. Don't tend to see that very often, as he will get taken down. And Leon now on a 5 streak. Really good work from him, and XC Alpha going to look to use this as a bit of a springboard to push through early on. But Ross J, he's been a bit of a menace, and he's doing it once again. 17 and 10 as he hunts down some potential more kills on the boys of XC. And there's another one for Ross, chopping them down left, right, and center at the moment. And he's just kind of going on this free roam roll. There should be another one in Enforcia. Another kill for Ross as he just chews through the boys of XC Alpha. And at the lead currently standing at 50 points. These are some big gunfights now for XC Alpha. They need to win the rotation, but they also need to get somebody to at least take the man off the hill, Pabs. Obviously, we know that P1 can be a bit of a messy one, but the boys of Team Ricochet, they've held a decent amount of time, at least for the time being, on it.
Yeah, that is the one thing that's quite scary, is they've just been really dominant on a hill that's normally heavily contested. It's normally in favour of both teams, usually get reasonable spawns, and right now they've been absolutely bodied on P1, and that's allowed Team Ricochet to go from a 50-second lead to approaching a 100-second lead in absolutely no time, and that's not what you need from a P1. You do need to be contesting, you need to be getting that scrap time or getting any time, or at least inhibiting the ability of your opposition to get time on that, and that's been, they've had to kind of commit so much towards this P2 that they've effectively lost the foothold in the game. And who's there? Number 8, Drills, is going to come round the back, and he drops Enforcia, and that's going to give them the spawns, and this is going to be an unfortunate moment, although he does actually head back, potentially giving number 4 there an opportunity, Leon, to have this fight over towards Tin. So this should be really interesting. Has he seen that player? Yes, so good opportunity again as Leon able to get that, but they're just unstoppable at times. And that's the one key right there, that Ross J has just been absolutely huge in terms of slaying out. But the rest of the team fundamentally have been really consistent, and that's a big problem for the Alpha boys.
Yeah, and with this lead now almost double pretty much what XC Alpha have got, Ross is going to look to try and grab what remains of the scrap time. They do finally manage to take him down on that particular point. With 13 seconds left, it's a big 13 seconds, but Drill's still going for the scrap time. Is he going to manage to grab the second onto Ali? Oh, the pistol not going to be quite enough, but his teammate in Footsy nearby is going to be there for the trade. So now the race over towards the next hill will commence. Enforcia is still locked out the back here, and he's had a really good regain. He was at 2 and 7, I believe, now, so currently sat just short of evens, as his boys now look to try and work their way back into this one. But the score tally at the moment is really getting away from them. Enforcia is still trying to secure spawns for his lads, but Drill's watching the cross, might be able to cut down a few. There's one, there's two. There's a man on tank as well, and Enforcia just hiding behind it for the time being, so he's not going to have the engagement just yet, but Drill's doing a really good job. And while all this madness is going on, Pablo Fudzi is just chilling in the hill, kicking his feet up. He will finally get taken out of it, but a big chunk of time again for Team Ricochet as they edge their way closer to that 200-point mark.
Yeah, and that's exactly how you want to play a hill. You want your player to just be nice and quiet in the hill, not having any worries as your team slays out. We finally see the kill feed go the way of XC with like 6 or 7 big kills right there. Enforcia tries to bonnet the whole team, not able to do it, but it was really nice to see that kill feed light up white for the first time as XC Alpha push over the 100 mark, and mate, they brought it back, you know, potentially within 70 seconds. You know, if they can start to chip away at that time, you know, this game could still potentially, you know, be a viable one for them to get a foothold back in. You would suggest, though, Team Ricochet, though, you know, got players approaching 30 kills, and they've just had an absolute ball on the map so far, as we see Ross J continue to slaughter his way through this Bacage. And every time you go onto a Team Ricochet player, they're getting 1 or 2 pieces, and it's been an absolute performance. But right now, XC Alpha doing everything in their power to contest this barn hill. It is a difficult one. There's going to be more kills as Ali looks to get a 2-piece, and that's a huge kill. 3-piece indeed, nearly. And Leon manages to tag up 2, and that's what we talked about, Major. Those 1 and 2 pieces from multiple players, so important. Mate, it's a 50-second game all of a sudden.
Yeah, Ali has just been on an absolute rip recently. He's managed to grab 4 in a row, and he's now 1 away from that infamous glide bomb. So can he manage to get it with the shots onto drills? Yes, he can, Ali. One of his 2 streaks, and a big amount of time for XC Alpha on that hill. That is probably the best hold they've had all game, really, on the hard points. And now can Ali manage to push him well out the back? He goes. Lucy just locked onto the heady, and the people that call him Mr. Stiff, he's not moving on this occasion, but some really important kills going in favour of Team Ricochet, as they manage to get number 7 in Ross J on the hill, and Luty going on a tear. There's 4, looking for 5 in Leon. His teammate in Drills is going to take him down, and this is where it gets dangerous now for XC Alpha. They've had a really good hold on the previous hill, but they're really struggling just to even get near this one. As more streaks are coming down from above, they're going to invest them onto this hill. Looks as though Fudzy, yep, nothing he can do about that one on that occasion, and Drills still located out the back, but XC Alpha, they are at least on the point, but now more streaks coming through here. It is just streaks galore at the moment, as they look to try and land another one on the man on the hill, but it's not going to get a kill on that occasion. George still located over towards El. It's going to fall, and now that scrap time, Pablo, it won't win them this map, but it's going to get them a lot closer.
Yeah, absolutely. They're just looking super strong. They managed to use their ordnance just to clear out the hill and finally get back onto it. But again, really nice performance over the last 2 hills from XC. A lot to take away from that. You got Ali on 30 and 33. We did say he needs to put up some big numbers for his team to get back into it. And right now, they've got more control over this P1 than they have in any of the previous 2 rotations. And they just need to get some kills and get that support. Number 2 in Forcia is just going to be sat outside. It's a big risk, really, to take, to have that player so passive. He is going to have that opportunity to control Plateau. But right now, this is the first time we've seen the boys from XC Alpha have any kind of real say in this P1. But it is Team Ricochet who are going to be sat on there, and with only 15 seconds required, we would suggest if they're able to get the kills and get a team wipe onto the team in white, this could be game over. But look who's there. It's going to be number 4 going off big. He manages to get the kill. Can he get the second? He does get the second. So Leon, one of the players we highlighted who needs to drop big numbers, gets that 2-piece, and he's going to keep XC Alpha into it as we approach P2. And who's there in Forcia? He's been there all along from the start, and that's going to give them spawn. So big opportunity for Team Ricochet for XC Alpha to get back into this game.
Yeah, and Luty's literally not moved, I think, for the whole of P1. He's finally going to move off, and he gets taken down literally the split second he moves. So Luty, unfortunately, is going to get taken down, and Leon invests the glide bomb here. So this is a really good opportunity for XC Alpha to hold a lot of time. The purple arrows of Team Ricochet are really struggling to get near the hill, and Luty realizes the importance of it. Glide bomb is invested, takes down Enforcer, and is this the push that they need? Leon, can he make the play? Takes down 1. There's another one up top in Plat. He's not going to be able to grab any more. But now Ali, quickly on the flank, going to try and potentially tick down any more players. They are now going to be nearby the hill. Oh, Ali takes down 1. They've still got Ross out the back as well. This is a big rotational kill if he can get it. He's not going to be able to. And number 8 in Drills, he will fall on the hill, but now he needs to stay alive here in Forcia because they can win off of this hill. I don't think they're going to manage to get it just in time. We were mistaken in the last one, though, Pabs. I'm pretty sure our math was right, but sometimes the way the ticks work, I'm not sure whether or not they win off this Team Ricochet. They might just maybe note they need to get on the hotel. They don't need to get onto the hotel. They need to get on the hill, and they've done it, and they've taken map number 1.
Well, it looks like Team Ricochet, despite the lack of hotels, have had the monopoly on this game, and entirely 250 to 233, and they allowed XC Alpha back into the game, so a lot to take home from there. A much better performance than the one had against Unbelievable Jeff, and just a really good all-round showing, but, you know, too much in the tank for Team Ricochet. They get a Ross J going absolutely huge, nearly dropping a 40 bomb. But yeah, you would suggest the Team Ricochet just in kind of like 4th gear at the time. But XC Alpha did make an absolute game of it. So far, it's going the way we thought it might, but maybe not with the kind of aplomb and the kind of a gap or difference in terms of the scoreline that we would have expected. So good play by Alpha, but Team Ricochet go 1-0 up as we head into the Berlin Search and Destroy.
Yeah, so map number 1. Confirmation on your screen there, guys, is going to finish in Team Ricochet's favour. So going into the Berlin now, Pabs, and obviously we go from the madness that Team Ricochet were able to just calm in that one. We're now going onto a map that is a lot more structured. So it would surprise me here if the boys of XC Alpha managed to take this one. But you never know. You never know. If they can manage to get Leon kind of working with the sniper and maybe make the plays, we could see a potential upset possibly.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is the one thing we missed in the last game. You know, we saw Destroy get the sniper out, but at no point did Leon get it out. We know. In fact, I think he got it out once, and he was that.
Yeah,
it
there was a
bit of
couple of rounds,
shocker.
I think.
But I think if we can get Leon, if we can get him to get a few picks, it might just place that seed of doubt in the mind of Team Ricochet to kind of play a different strategy, get some smokes out, change up what kind of bomb sites to go to. Again, though, if he's ineffective with it, he needs to realize to change over as quickly as possible and then start to try and develop that AR or whatever he's gonna run in the game. Again, though, Bale and S&D, they look super strong on it, but this is again another step up in that kind of field. And they are playing, someone you would consider to be a kind of top strategist in the S&D field in Luti. So it could be a super interesting game regardless. We've got like an interesting storyline either way. But right now, it's just looking advantage Team Ricochet.
Yeah, and obviously the series that we saw before, if you guys did miss it, XC Alpha, they played Unbelievable Jeff, and they dropped this map 6-2. So when you're coming up against a team that arguably on paper, you would expect to be better, especially on a map like Berlin. Especially with like the likes of Luti on an assault rifle. I mean, you know how comfortable he is just to watch certain lanes. He'll do it all day, and he's probably going to be a player that is going to be very difficult to budge in a Berlin search and destroy. So XC Alpha, kind of when you compare it to the previous series, you would anticipate that they're going to have an even bigger fight up against these boys. So they're really going to have to try and look to the likes of Leon, especially to grab those first bloods, and Ali to have a big map as well. Pretty much as a team of four, I suppose you'd say they all need to be firing on all cylinders if they are going to they're going to take this map.
Yeah, I think if you look to the other round, despite them, doing quite well on this, I think Ali had quite a quiet game. I think you've got to look to Enforcia really, because I think just George and Leon are probably going to do okay, but you need to look to Ali and Enforcia really just to step things up and to make sure that they get the picks when they should do. No kind of dramatic mistakes. If they are going to get dropped, it'd be by pure strategy. So big moments, they're already looking to get picks, and you just got to be able to hang with these guys and be super aggressive and maybe play to those abilities of Ali and Leon.
Yeah, and that's a nade that Footsie's not going to want to watch back straight off the side of the building. It's going to come back and almost slap him in the face. And meanwhile, Drills is going on a pretty quick flank hit. Enforcia, is he going to check this at the right time? Because Drills, if he manages to slip through here, might be able to take down pretty much his entire team. And Drills gets the first kill. It's getting a little bit messy. Ali will manage to grab one kill onto Ross J. And now, they're all falling by the wayside. It's now Leon in a 1 versus 3. He's been tagged up. They know where he is. And it's looking like, at least for the time being, Pabs, a pretty stellar round for the boys. But nice work by Leon. Will at least make it a 1 versus 2.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw this before. Leon, the master of dance, and absolutely, takes the window shot, gets the kill. But unfortunately, it just highlights how difficult it is to clutch up. And obviously, with that X factor of the team he's playing against being one of the best in Europe, it makes it super difficult. So, big plays right now. Dramatic sounds you can hear is my dog's chain on the floor because he wants to go out for a walk. Not interested in this game whatsoever. But yeah, huge plays by Team Ricochet. Again, you would expect them to do really well. But again, Ali and Leon doing the job, but that player we did talk about Enforcia, I think once he gets involved in game, I think they're going to be able to pick up a round or two.
So now it looks as though the dancing is going to be going over towards the A site, and there's a first blood for George. Ross is going to reply with one, but Ali shots into one. Nice shots. Manages to take down Drills. And it is now going to be out the back in Leon. Manages to grab a kill onto Mr. Luti. So now it is all on Ross J. 1 versus 3 is going to be required now for this round. His team are going to manage to push it out 2-0. There is a bit of a split, though, on the players of XC Alpha. So if he does manage to get some good timing, he might maybe get a free pick or two here. Ali is just lurking inside the A site, and you've got Enforcia just on the outer lane. Just going to nade check the corner. Enforcia's going to be here. He's got to be careful. Oh, but nice shots with the hip fire. Ross is going to manage to grab one. So now 1 versus 2. Still got 40 seconds left on the timer, but no, not going to be able to grab it. XC Alpha, they reposition correctly, and they manage to grab the kill and tie it up 1 round apiece.
Yeah, Leon takes a really nice position, and we think we saw accuracy at the weekend take up a consistent position over here when in that kind of like 2v1 situation. And it's obviously it's vital if you've got a player who's going to be pushing kind of round the back to get onto that bomb site. So Leon doing a good job, and we did say if the boys could kind of more get involved in across the board, that they'd be able to get at least a round. And XC Alpha, it's good to see that they were able to drop such big numbers against Unbelievable Jeff. They've continued with good form against what you would consider to be S&D experts in Team Ricochet.
Oh, now Ali, through the door he goes. Ross is going to be lurking on that outer lane. He's got a lot of work to do, though, but the info will come through. And he is just going to dip out for the time being. You can see again, Drills is potentially looking to try and avoid with the idea of flanking. George does manage to get first blood onto Footsy. So now, when is Drills going to go here? He's got to be quick. He spots one player. He is going to bait out some movement, and Ross is going to manage to reply with a kill. So now they've got to be careful, though, because number 2 in Enforcer is all the way out the back, and it's gunfights here, there, and everywhere at the moment. Ali, has he been spotted? I'm pretty sure he has been. Surely going to get taken down. Another kill coming through for Ross to put himself at 5 and 2. He is going to get taken down, though, eventually by Enforcer. So now 2 versus 2. Leon checks the corner, but Enforcer is going to help him out and grab that kill. So now it's all on the man you know and love, Pabs, Mr. Luty.
Yeah, I think he's going to need to get some WD-40 on those knees as he gets absolutely bodied, just a little too stiff in the end. And close quarters with the AR, definitely not his forte. I'm sure he'd be the first to admit. And XC Alpha take a 2-1 lead, and it's not that surprising. S&D obviously leveling the player field a little bit. And, you know, XC Alpha not going to be any slouches. They've got great gun skills. So when it comes to these 1v1s, they just need a little bit of luck and a little bit of nous as well. And they're doing really well to be in the lead and consistent. And let's be honest, you know, clearly very good at S&D. So Team Ricochet really looking to the in-game leader, their out-of-game leader, Luty, 0-3 right now, heavily on the struggle bus. You would suggest he's been handed the keys to the struggle bus and driving the rest of his team around Berlin, mate.
Yeah, and I did see Gabe drop in the chat. I don't know if he's still here, but if he was seeing this, he's probably getting ready to banter Luty all the way home. So just George is going to get taken down, though, and it is by none other than Mr. Luty. So he's off the donut. He's on to 1 now. And it will be all of a sudden Enforcer last man up. A much better round here from the boys of Team Ricochet. Means that Enforcer is going to have to work something magical here. It looks as though that bomb will go down pretty much any second. Luty is going to try and stick the plant. He's now going to have to try and check the right spot here. Enforcer does spot Ross drop down, and he gets a free pick there. Luty's going to be nearby, and he gets a second. Oh, Enforcer, he's made a meal out of this one. It's now 1 versus 1 up against Footsy. Can he manage to work the diffuser? I'll tell you what, if he just sticks this, he's got to be careful, though. I was going to say, if he had that window, he might be able to get it off, but it's not going to be on that occasion. Footsy, Turtle Beaches, perhaps you would expect, ramped right up here in the 1 versus 1.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I've had this argument plenty of times, but I think in this position, you really do need to stick the diffuse as soon as possible. Fuzzy playing this really, really well, and it's going to enforce you to try and peak bomb. Maybe he's just going to give up entirely on it. Is he on a 4 streak? Yeah, he's going to play it with a bit of caution, look for the glide potentially. And it's going to be around to Team Ricochet. But yeah, you would suggest, man, if he'd just got the diffuse straight away, and I argue this all the time, you see young cretins do it all the time. They just go, as soon as it becomes available, just, you know, don't run around a map searching for someone. Just try and diffuse and see if you can get the game over with. But 2-2, and we did say that potentially the first 2 maps were a great opportunity for XC Alpha to get one on the board, and this is their biggest opportunity yet. And Enforcer, you would suggest, maybe going to play quite passively for the pick now.
Yeah, and this might potentially swing on whether Enforcer can get that glide bomb. As mentioned previously, guys, if you do or don't know, the glide bomb now has the ability to kill people even with flak jacket on. So going to be a big couple of engagements coming up very, very shortly. The Enforcer is just holding the flank, so we'll keep an eye on him to potentially see where his next engagement might lie. And got to be careful. There's actually number 8 drills lurking nearby, but meanwhile over towards the A site, they're still waiting for the right time to push it. And nice shots coming through from Ross. He isn't going to manage to grab the kill, but where is his first engagement going to lie? Ross surely going to be the first line of defense. He does have Luty just watching over the top of him, and Luty manages to make it pay off as he gets the first kill. And I think he's been spotted. I think Drills has spotted Enforcer on the flank. This is going to be a really big moment in this map here for XC Alpha, and Drills gets the kill, so no streaks coming through. Ross with the chow. He's going to manage to grab that onto George, so now it's all on Leon. Last man up will take down 1. Those purple arrows on Team Ricochet, they are hunting Pabs, and they know roughly where he's going to be. And with Luty out the back and the info that he'll probably get if he switches over to the bomb, it's going to be a very, very difficult position. And there you go.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to come up against Luty in an alleyway like that. He's a classic turret and able to get the kill. But again, it just goes to show just how difficult it is. You know, Cold War, you used to see plenty of clutches and plenty of 1v2s, 1v3s. But obviously in a situation where it's a 1v4, he manages to get 1 kill. But it's just so difficult with the amount of information that you can garner from these angles that Team Ricochet able to just take a slender lead in the second game, 3-2. But great play so far from XC Alpha, and this is what we wanted to see, a little bit more confidence. But one thing you didn't want to see is obviously Team Ricochet now getting kills quite effectively across the board.
Yeah.
So hopefully it's not going to run away from them.
Yeah, and it looks as though it's quite a big mid-map presence here for the boys of XD Alpha, so they are going to switch up a little bit. Leon's got to be careful because Ross has worked his way up towards the corner. Where is the first blood going to sit? George. That's coming through. Going to fly straight around the corner, and Ross J's positioning is going to pay off. They've got number 3 Ali on the flank. If he's quick enough, he might be able to do something here. There's a few players ready and waiting nearby. You can see Luti on that outer lane alongside Drills, and Luti's been spotted, so there's one for Ali. Can he manage to grab another one? It's now 2 versus 2. Leon and Ali up against Ross and Drills. It looks as though if Ross hits that flank quick enough, he's just toying with it. Just toying with it. It's a big kill though, but Leon manages to grab one. So now Ross, all he's got to do is keep an eye on the bomb. He's just got to try and get the planter off, and he's going to get the shots in, and he will take the bomb planter down, and he takes the man guarding him as well. So a big couple of kills and a big round there for Team Ricochet, Pabs, as they go 4-2 up.
Yeah, you could almost see him thinking about which person to shoot. He eventually he decides to shoot the bomb diffuser first, which is probably the best move, and able to get the kill again. I think he manages to time it really well. It takes the players by surprise just as they're getting settled for that reaction, and obviously understanding where the bomb was down, he chose the correct doorway. So big brain plays from Ross J, who's having an absolutely awesome game. And right now, you would suggest he's the player they need to drop. He's 1 off his glide. He's 10-5, so feeling himself quite nice at the minute. And Team Ricochet have gone 2 rounds clear. So this is an important game now for ACCL. If they want to stay in the series, you would suggest that they go 2 down. That Tuscan control might be a step too far against a heavily competent Team Ricochet.
Yeah, and Ross is on a 4 streak as well. Drill's first blood is going to add insult to injury. They've got to be careful of Ross because he's going all the way round the back, and unless George is going to just nick a little bit of good timing here and turned around at the right time, this is going to be a bit brutal if Ross can manage to grab the 5th. George is free in the open. There's the 5th for Ross. Nice work from him. Glide bomb now ready to be used. There's still going to be a few players nearby, both in towards that P2 side. And Leon is going to manage to grab a kill, but can Ross manage to get any more? Still 1 away from the strafing run. He's going to have to go quickly, though, because those players are starting to shift. And, there's all the information that he needs. He spots Leon, at least drifting out of position. And surely this 6th kill is inevitable now. That bomb is still down over towards the other side, but Ross still on the humble. With 25 seconds left, Pablo, they've got to go so quickly here. I don't think they've given themselves really enough time to make something feasible here.
I think the long flank probably hasn't helped them. They know they're up against 3 players. They're not going to get that information. It's going to be a pretty easy trade as Enforcia gets dropped. And obviously, we did see Ross J on the run as well. He knew kind of where the player was thereabouts, and it was going to be an easy kill for Luti in the end. So Team Ricochet played that fairly standard and are able to take that round. And are 1 away from going 2-0 in the series. And this is a dangerous time if you're XC Alpha. And again, we did talk about, the kind of punishment they might receive. And this is almost a mirror image of the scoreline that they feasted onto unbelievable Jeff in the previous round. So a lot of work for them to do, and back to the drawing board potentially. But again, they have got a Tuscan control to maybe turn things round. But with the slaying power you've got in Team Ricochet, is that even possible? And you've just got to hope they have a full reset if indeed they lose this round.
Yeah, so Ross, 5 in a row. Meanwhile, though, Fudzy watching towards that B site, but number 8 Drills has got some really good timing here on the flank. There's going to be 2 players in. George, luckily, just stays down. Oh, is it going to be good timing or bad timing? Well, there's one for Drills. They're going to manage to take George out as well. So that bomb plant is looking pretty much imminent, as Luti is going to now stick the bomb. And now it's going to be down to Enforcia and Leon here because they can't drop any more rounds. They still need 5 in a row now, and it's going to have to start here. Is Enforcia going to check his corner? His Drills is right there. Surely the trade comes through from Drills at this point, and it will. So now it's all on Leon. 1 versus 2 is going to be needed. Can he work something here? 30 seconds left on the clock. First engagement doesn't manage to pull it off, and Team Ricochet, Pabs, they take map number 2. They position themselves in the driving seat now, and are only 1 map away from taking the series 3-0.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't been as predictable as we thought it might, but it's been as close as possible. The blockage was reasonably close in the end, but the S&D kind of going the way we expected it. Ross J having an absolute show right there, 12-6. 7 untraded kills. So again, you've got to look to XCL for being a little naive going into it strategically, not really providing each other with the kind of support you would expect. Berlin's quite a large map, so it does make it difficult to effectively trade. But with the bomb almost always going over towards that A bomb site, it's kind of a sad statistic in the end. But 2-0 up to Team Ricochet, and we're going to head into that Tuscan control. Again, it's not one that we've cast too often. We've seen a lot of Gavutu, so it's going to be very interesting. We know the B site in Tuscan control is an absolutely wild one. I mean, it's a wild area no matter what kind of game mode you're in for Tuscan. So this should be super interesting. Again, we would suggest that Team Ricochet, obviously the power players here, but let's see what happens. Maybe XC Alpha can throw the cat among the pigeons, have a massive mid-game reset, and just see if they can actually get these boys firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, so now XC Alpha, they're going to have to look to the reverse sweep, and the outfit of Team Ricochet is not one that you look at and think, right, well, this is feasible. It's been a very comfortable first 2 maps, you would say, for Team Ricochet. XC Alpha, they did push them close in that Bocage hardpoint, but obviously they weren't able to get it down and notch that round on the board, unfortunately. So they're now in a position where they're going to have to work a lot of magic up against a team of 4, Pablo. That, I mean, we've preached it so many times. They're obviously one of the more prestigious teams in Europe at the moment, as you look at what they have on that roster. So they're going to have to really be firing on every single cylinder that they have in this XC Alpha team.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's going to take a monumental effort, and I'm sure F. Dot and Smudge just sat smugly back in their seats, feet on the table, just going, we know what to do. We know how to play this well. I would suggest it'd be handy if the XC Alpha had the kind of players that Gabe and Johnny W kind of bring to the table, but right now they're just not in that position, so they're going to have to rely on the 4 that they've got, and they really need those players to go off. And obviously Leon and Ali, which we've seen before time and time again, we need them to have a really good game, backed up by Enforcer. Just George, you would suggest, has had a great performance right throughout the 2 games they've played. It's just not been on the right side of the KD, and often not on the right side of the kills that he's needed to get. And right now it is XC Alpha who needs to get into control, and they've started quite badly. They're already won like that, but we do see the trades go out, which is great for the boys in white, and hopefully they're not going to get overslayed. And right now it's 26 all, and you would suggest this is a good opportunity to get a tick down. But who's there at the back? The 6, Lucy, doing the dirty work towards the back there. So Major, we are heading into potentially a big map for XC Alpha, and hopefully they're going to be able to put some numbers on the board.
Yeah, so it is going to be all kicking off over towards the B site. Number 7 in Ross is going to try and work his way over towards the P5 alley, able to win the first engagement. And George, really big couple of kills there as those players just kind of bottleneck themselves through the P5, but they do manage to grab a kill as Drills is still lurking out the back. He knows Leon's in the corner, but Leon, big kill as well. So the boys in white in XC Alpha, they are managing to get some important kills, and that first tick over towards B has come through, but you can also see, Pablo, they need to try and commit potentially maybe 1, if not 2 players over towards the A site, but they're doing a really good job here. Ali's now on a 4, and I'll tell you what, if you're picking out kills as Ali gets another one, that is a big set of plays there coming through from Ali right when you need him to.
Yeah, absolutely huge play, and we did talk about those players needing to go off right now. Enforcing Leon not really doing that kind of work, and you do need them to step up. This is going to be a big kill for Leon, maybe in terms of confidence. He's still 3 and 4, but Ali doing everything he can to get those two ticks. Unfortunately, not able to do it. Only about 70% of that second tick was got, and you're going to see it drain back. That's one facet you will see of Team Ricochet. They will be diligent in draining those ticks back to give themselves the maximum amount of opportunity to obviously defend this final zone. And we're over the 44. I would suggest they have got it in them. Ali already going to invest that. He is able to get the kill on Drills, which is going to be super important. 14 life space to 11. Major, let's be honest, we didn't expect them to be within 3 lives. We thought this potentially could be a blowout, and they've done a really good job so far of trying to stay toe-to-toe with the boys in purple.
Yeah, so now Team Ricochet only trailing by 2. You can see Footsy is just refusing to move. He's just going to be watching that full flank round the back of the point. And meanwhile, over towards P5, Drills picks up 1. There's going to be another man. Ali is there nearby for the trade as he hits double figures. 12 and 5 at the moment. It's Ali as he picks off 3. And this is probably their best shot at maybe getting a bit of early progression over towards B. The first tick's done. They only need 2, though. Leon is just watching potentially any flank coming through, and got to be careful. Fuzzy's round the back, takes down 1. He spotted George. A big gunfight win there from George. He's going to do well to stay alive in that position. He's not going to be able to as Enforcer. Unfortunately, just kind of blindly runs round the corner, doesn't check it, gets taken down. And although they're down to 4 lives, Pablo, they're doing a good job. Drills in there. Oh, another kill for him that he probably shouldn't have got. And it's now 5 versus 4, and all of a sudden it's been flipped.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see, they were so close to getting that second tick over towards B. It's about 95% being cleared. So unfortunate for them that they're potentially going to see that drain back. But good defense from Team Ricochet. It's what you would expect. Right now, what a huge kill from Leon as he's able to get, you know, almost a reaction time. This has been a nice setup and a nice push and really good coherent play from the team in white. Something that we haven't seen so far in any of the games. There's some big important fights about to go down. Ross J does get tagged up in the end, but XC Alpha do enough to be able to get that point on the board. So finally being able to see it over, and what a performance from them. And you know, we did see some sparks of life over in the S&D, so it's nice for them to be able to transition as well over to the control and do really well.
Yeah, and Ali definitely been at the forefront of that on that round, as he's had 20 engagement, 12 of which are in his favour. So Team Ricochet going to drop that first round as they look to try and attack now in towards round number 2, and we'll see where they opt to go first. You would assume it would be that all-important A point first, and it looks as though it is going to be both Ross and Drills straight on towards it, so that double progression coming through pretty quickly. It looks as though XC Alpha are just going to try and opt for a bit of mid-map control before they try and take the players off the point, but they've got to be careful not to give them too much time here. But nice work from Leon, an all-important gunfight win comes through for him. He's been a bit quiet in this series, Pablo, by his standards from what we've seen, and you feel if he can come to life a little bit, and Enforcia can as well, because he's struggled as well on the respawns, then these XC Alpha lads are definitely in with a shout.
Yeah, I mean, we just seen what Leon can do. He bounds into the church and gets in a huge kill there. We see the kill feed going white, so we know they can hang in terms of kills, but right now, just not really the right strategy pushing through mid. They've allowed them to get 2-6 to A, but they have been able to see them off. So this has been a nice defensive A, and with 1 minute 8 on the seconds, you know, if Team Ricochet can't get this hill, this is going to be a difficult one for them, and they're doing it with 3 players, because number 5 right there is Fudzy. He's already just sat, and we've seen how patient he is previously, so if they get this A, it's going to give them a solid amount of time, 2 minutes, and they are slightly in the life advantage. They've got that little advantage. There's only 1 at the minute, but it's just hugely important. But again, we know how wild this B can be. But Major, look at the patience of Fudzy. He's been sat there for what, like 25 seconds without moving. So a good, you know, it's a crazy play, but it might just work for them.
Yeah, no, now he's been spotted now though. After all that patience, unfortunately, the timing is going to get the better of him on that occasion, as he will fall. Number 7, Ross, has got a potential engagement any second. Enforcia is going to tag him up just short of death there. Just needs to be tickled by something here, and he will drop. But nice shots into George, but George makes him pay as he manages to crack some shots in there through that block. And it looks as though the boys of Team Ricochet are going to try and regroup potentially here. They are pushing through a little bit more patiently than you would expect. And Drills, nice shots to take down one. He knows there's another man in Enforcia still lurking around here. The Drills just trying to reposition, just trying to move as to where he can try and engage the next player. Number 8, Drills, on the point. Just George has been baited out. Nice shots, though, from Drills, and the kills coming through for a Team Ricochet a little bit here. Still trailing by 2 lives, but they've got Fudzy on this B point, and now if they can manage to roam around him, potentially pick off some players, this progression might be difficult to come past here for the boys of XC Alpha. And nice shots come through once again from Fudzy, but he gets taken down, beautiful. And they breathe a sigh of relief, Pablo. They're 5 lives up now. They just need to try and keep this momentum going, because they're doing a really good job.
Yeah, absolutely. And with time not on the side of Team Ricochet and that 4 life advantage, you know, XC Alpha realistically just need to allow Team Ricochet to come at them. And as long as they get the kills, this could potentially be almost a TDM in the sense that they're very close to being able to wipe them out. With 29 seconds left, just George in the back doing the job you would expect someone like Luti to do really effectively, just being the anchor and just getting those players on the flank. That's going to force Team Ricochet to push through this middle section. Number 3 is going to be waiting there. Ali, he nearly gets the 2-piece, and that player eventually falls. So an awesome defense, and with 13 seconds left, this is definitely advantage XE Alpha if they're able to get another team wipe or get any kills on this. This is going to be a huge gunfight now, Major.
Yeah, with 5 seconds left, George has got to go huge here, and Fudzy tears down 3, Luti tears down the 4th, and all of a sudden, a round that was looking really good for XE Alpha is looking one that's pivoting on a knife edge here, and the streaks coming through from Enforcia. Takes down Ross, it's getting messy. Fudzy with 1, and XE Alpha, they do just about enough to get that one over the line, but it was one, Pablo, that for a split second there, it looked as though Team Ricochet might have just pinched it out from underneath them, but they do just about survive.
Yeah, they just managed to get the kills on the players that were doubling up, so it ended up with 1 Team Ricochet player on the hill. It takes way too long to get the 2 ticks that they needed, or the tick and a half that they needed. The glide bomb comes out, that's going to see Fudz off the hill, and it's advantage XC Alpha and 2-0, man. You would not have been able to predict this at the start of this round. Huge performance from the team in white. And who do we look at? The players that we pointed out. We wanted Enforcia to go big, we wanted Ali to go big, and of course they've got really solid support from Just George and from Leon. So great performance. Looty with the first blood, though. You would expect Team Ricochet to maybe up the gears a bit, maybe just go through the gears and try and up the pace and see if they can bring this back. But Major, this has been a fascinating encounter thus far.
Yeah, Fudzy, one away from streaks himself here, so he's going to have to try and play for this glide bomb. George, just dancing with death a little bit there as he just tries to shoulder and drills, makes him pay for that second shoulder peak, takes him down. So can Fudzy and Looty manage to get their streaks? Looty's managed to do it, and now Fudzy just one away. Oh, did Leon hear him smash that door open? There's a couple of engagements going through, and I think Fudzy might be able to grab one here onto Enforcia. No, Enforcia shuts him down, so it is only going to be Looty with the glide bomb. The patience of Fudzy isn't going to pay off once again, and there's a 3-man wipe, so now the boys in white, they have an opportunity to get on this point, and Ross is going to have to go pretty big here, but big kills coming through from him, and there's 3. One onto Ali, one onto Enforcia, one onto George. And a round that was looking potentially a bit bleak, Pabs. Ross has just come through with 3 huge kills.
And it's just a reset for the boys from XC Alpha. It's 2-0 and they're 140 seconds left to do it with a 3-life disadvantage. And you would suggest the slaying power of the team in purple probably enough to see them through. Right now, though, I mean, it's crazy plays, but the slaying is kind of even across the board. We've seen Looty actually going big at 18-9. Absolutely loving it out here. He's duck hunting in the back on top of the truck. Huge plays as we see that kill feed go purple. And Leon just going to try and bring this back a bit. He's 16-16, a play that we know needs to go huge if XC Alpha want to do well. And they've got a 6-life disadvantage. So right now, just seems to have taken the foot off the gas. Or Team Ricochet have finally just gone through the gears and started to step things up. And right now, mate, we are not seeing any response. That's a huge kill from Leon, though, as he mixes it up and drops Fudzy. So big opportunity for the boys in white to have a little tactical reset and try and get one more break on this hill. 52 seconds, 3 ticks needed. It's a big ask.
Looty's not moved, it feels like. Every time I switch to him, he's on the same heady. So he manages to grab another one, 6 in a row for Mr. Looty. Ali is still waiting around the back, but this life count at the moment, wow, we look at the combined streak, 13 between the team of 4 for Team Ricochet, and they are really running away with this round here. Enforcer is going to finally stop the bleeding for the time being, but look at the control that they have, no pun intended. Fudzy still roaming, looking for more, and Enforcer into the blender. Here he goes. This is getting a little bit out of hand in this round. The boys of XC Alpha have really been put to the sword here. But can they manage to get onto the hill and potentially get the progression? Ali with a big couple of kills, but now can Drills make the play? He's going to run straight into George. There's one. There's another player right above him as well. Can he manage to snap onto him? His teammate is. Ross takes him down. Lucy takes down the third, and all of a sudden, Enforcia is going to be the last man, even close to the hill. Gets some shots into one, but the trade's coming through. A much better round from Team Ricochet, Pabs, and it looks as though XC Alpha, they're not even going to be able to touch the hill here in round number 3, and they're going to reduce that lead just down to the 1 round.
Yeah, Lucy locked them knees, got on top of that truck and just couldn't be moved. He was on a 6 streak. I think he was on a high streak for the second time in that round. Drops 20 kills and is absolutely going off, that kind of in-game presence that you want and leading by example. But it was obviously perfect for him to just, lock down and kill those flanking Alpha players. But again, 2-1, it's still advantage XC Alpha, but they've just got to go big as you feel Team Ricochet are starting to go through the motions and go through the gears. Just George, one of the players we need to look to. Again, he's on that kind of like negative KD on that deficit. He needs to go big, and Lucy bodies him straight out the blocks. And they're already getting that time over towards A. We see that tick go down, and this is a worrying turn of events if you're an XC Alpha fan or player indeed. So a huge play is needed by the team in white as Team Ricochet look to take advantage.
Yeah, Fudzy shots into one. He knows Leon's there as well. George is going to manage to grab a kill as the trades go back and forth. And Enforcia, that is how you use a strafing run. 2 kills straight off of the point. He's not going to grab a team kill as well, which we tend to see quite a bit on this map as players use it over towards the A site. Leon still lurking nearby. That was a really big streak there to at least grant themselves a bit more map control. There is going to be another streak coming through from number 6, Lucy. He's not going to get the kill either, so the glide bomb not going to have any effect on that occasion. George is going to manage to grab 2 kills over towards this A point, but now on the flank, there's Ali, there's 1, there's 2, there's another man in Fudzy on the hunt for him as well, chasing him down frantically, trying to find out where he's gone, and Leon just watching over the top of him, manages to get the kill, and they're going to invest more into this one, as Ross is going to invest a glide bomb as well, but that is not going to get anything. Team Ricochet, they are rinsing everything dry at the moment in this round, Pablo, but they've not really got a huge amount to show for it.
Yeah, absolutely, and Team Ricochet have made that move completely completely over, looking to get control. So some big bum fights about to go down. You know, if they're able to get a wipe on this could potentially leave them with a much easier A hill to get. And this is a worrying turn of events for XE Alpha, who did absolute work over towards the A zone. You can see that player number 1, Just George, already thinking about that defense. They've completely chalked B, the much more difficult point to get, and there's only 1 tick needed, and it's 17 lives, plays 15. So advantage XE Alpha, but potentially, you know, this is going to come down to some absolute, you know, accurate slaying and whether these guys can hang with the players. And right now we're seeing that kill feed rather ominously go purple.
Yeah, now it's just going to be interesting to see where the spawns are. You can see number 2 Enforcer spawns right up in a corner where he's just got the man in Looty staring him right down the barrel of his gun. So that is a really difficult position there. And the kills, wow, have they awoken the Team Ricochet beast here in the second half of this third round, fourth round, apologies, as Ricochet, they get on the point. And Ali needs to try and make the play here. Drills is getting progression, but nice work again from Ali. A huge amount of engagements we're so used to seeing coming through from him. And 1 minute on the clock. And there is going to be another glide bomb invested. Can Lucci make that one count? Yes, he can. Manages to take down Ali onto the point. They will go. George has to go huge here. And Leon's going to have to try and help him out. So Leon is going to manage to trade out one. But that aid progression still coming through. The contest comes through as well. And it's getting a little bit mixy. It's getting a little bit messy. But XC Alpha, they're down to 4 lives, Pabs. They need to make every single one count. And now they're down to 3.
Yeah, make that 2 versus 7. It's going to be incredibly difficult, and it's potentially Team Ricochet who are going to tie this up 2-all, and that is a worrying turn of events. It was so heavily in the driving seat, XD Alpha. 2-0 up, potentially on the regain, you know, heading into what would have been a really interesting failure hard point, and right now they are on the precipice of a 3-0 from a position, you know, we thought might have happened, but they did so well in those 2 early rounds, but the gears have been pressed, they've gone through the motions, and Team Ricochet just starting to come out. And look at that there, Looty on a 34 and 15. You know, the older man of the team, you know, he's just having a resurgent game and playing so well, but dropping big numbers. He's back on a 2 streak and just playing really, really good Call of Duty right now.
So now, how many more can Looty manage to drop? It's going to be his team, excuse me, on the defensive side. And this is potentially a big kill if Ross can manage to grab one as well. Drills is going to take down one. It looks as though the boys of Team Ricochet going for an instant pinch. Enforcer, though, better from him. There's one, there's 2. Good work from him. And now XC Alpha looking to try and get some early control and early command. Wow, that was quick, Pabs. A point secured, 2 minutes 20 on the clock, and they've already got Just George on the point.
Yeah, a huge play. Enforcer, we talked about a player that needed to go big. He'd had so many quiet games, so many quiet rounds in both series that they've played that he needed to be that catalyst. And right now he's done so well, warmed completely up. But again, we talk about how difficult this beast zone is to take. And when you've got players going off like Looty, who is going to be that absolute pain in the back, Drills going to take that job. You see how easy it is to take down that less experienced player. And it's just going to be a real fight now for XC Alpha if they want to take this and potentially stay in the series. It's a great sign for them that they are able to get the kills. Right now it's 23 lives to 21 major, but still an awful lot to do.
Yeah, Fudzy and Ross going to stabilize for the time being, and they take down George as well. So much better than the boys of Team Ricochet as they try and push out their respective lanes. You can see Drills over on this left-hand side might manage to catch Leon out, and I think Leon spotted him, but Drills just didn't miss a single bullet there. Takes him down. There's another man under mid-map in the man. That is Mr. Looty. He's now 3 away from 40 kills here as Looty. He's having a hell of a map, and his team now combining for 8 in a row means that the life count is slowly starting to whittle away now for XC Alpha. Team Ricochet, they really have woken up the beast now. They are on full firing mode here as Looty with another kill is going to drop. But now that life count, that life difference currently sat at 6. And with Footsy around the corner, he might potentially grab 1, maybe even 2. Not on that occasion. He will get traded out. Team Ricochet, and they managed to hold this out for long enough. XC Alpha, I think, if anything, Pablo, it's just going to be down to maybe lives here because they are trailing by a little bit. But I'll tell you what, the clock's running out as well. With a huge amount of time they had at the beginning, that's all but gone.
Yeah, and you can see Leon, I think he's, you know, assimilated the information that number 8 Drills is going to be in tight into that corner, and hopefully he's going to potentially be able to push on. No, Com's not going there. Leon knows the Drills is there, but allows his player to get taken out, and the trade eventually comes through. But his team are going to fall by the wayside again, and that's going to be really difficult for them. With only 20 seconds remaining, it's relying on 1 or 2 players to go off, and that is not going to be enough against a team of this caliber. You know, they're going to need to have 1 player go and get a 2 or a 3-man wipe. We do see number 1, Just George. He's going to get his foot
Big
onto
kill.
the kill, but he needs that support almost immediately, and this is going to be a big moment. Number
Oh,
5,
Luty.
able to drop 2. Luty drops the 41 on the team wipe. It's going to be 5 seconds remaining as Luty gets a 4 streak, drops 42, kills the team. Ross J is going to bring in the glide, and that is going to be game, set, match team Ricochet Major.
And there you go. The general comes to play. He manages to mop up all 4 remaining players near to the point, and Team Ricochet down 2-0 in that control. They take it 3-2, and they manage to take the series 3-0. And we'll see the final kills there coming through from Luty. A really veteran performance coming through from him and his team. And a series, Pablo, that we anticipated potentially that would be the scoreline. But XC Alpha, to be fair, in that control, they got oh so close. But Team Ricochet, towards the end of it, they just hit a different gear.
Yeah, they just went through the gears really and just started to taking the heat up entirely. And you've only got to look to the man himself, Luty. Is it 39 untraded kills? I think maybe 29, 39 untraded kills. That's an insane scoreline. That talks to the opposition as not really being there all the time, a little lack of coherence and chemistry in the players, and not really supporting each other. So, at some points feeding the hill almost. And then we talk about kills on the hill, he was getting an average of 7. So just in terms of supporting and defense, he just played an outstanding game, and obviously the kill leader, and a huge signal to the rest of Europe that Luty means business this year. But a great performance nonetheless, despite the 3-0, XC Alpha looking good at times. When the whole team were firing, they put the Team Ricochet under pressure, but just not enough in the end. And again, it's one of the problems is that consistency. Team Ricochet able to turn the heat up, able to just, play with that extra bit of aggression, extra bit of pace, execute the strategies at a much better pace, and eventually able to come through. 3-0, probably the scoreline we would have expected. The Tuscan control, probably not how we had expected it to go on, but nonetheless, mate, it's been another great game in this Super League. So again, we just look forward to these games so much.
Yeah, so it is going to be the boys of Team Ricochet coming out on top of that one. And unfortunately there for XC Alpha, their first 2 games, I believe it's their first 2, are going to end in defeat. But I have no doubt this team of 4 will come back stronger at the next time of asking. And a GG's there to every single team that's taken part in this one. Obviously the boys of Unbelievable Jeff playing previously. So GG's there to our 3 teams that we have seen this evening. That is going to be it from us this evening. A huge thank you to everyone who has tuned in to the game. And we're just going to drop a raid onto Mr. Sam Raid and one of the RAF lads. Proper sound like his name. You literally cannot say anything bad about him. The team currently playing a Division 3 game with a Mr. Aqua picking up, I do believe. So it'll be good to see how those boys get on. But yeah, a big thank you to everyone who's dropped by the stream and dropped follows, new and old. You guys make it the experience that it is. So a big thank you to everyone who's come through and supported the stream once again. Some insane, absolutely insane numbers as per usual. And a big shout out and thank you to my partner in crime, Mr. Pablo Cast, once again. But that is going to be it from myself and Pabs this evening. We should be back tomorrow for some more ACCL action in the Super League. So we will see you guys tomorrow for some more madness. Thanks again, guys. See you then.
One's top grandma's open window.
Enemy glide bombing.
Fuck.
Lost.
People know, like, he just came through mid. Should never be able to come through mid.